Very warm welcome to all of you to the monthly course demo webinar hosted by us in Imerzi. My name is Jay Kumar. I'm part of one of the core leadership team member. So I'll have my colleague who is a technology head, Mr. Mubin, should be joining us shortly. He will take us through some of the sections in this particular webinar, right? So at an outset, why is this webinar for? Okay, so typically we see a lot of aspirants are there, whether you are a fresh engineer or you are a working professional who wanted to get into the core segment, working in areas of various areas of embedded systems. For example, IoT, electric vehicle, robotics, Internet of Things, networking, telecommunication, etc. Right? So many of you wanted to get into this type of job profile. You could be a fresh engineer who was about to pass out or just getting passed out in the year 2022, or you could be somebody who has some experience but not related to this domain but wanted to get into this domain. Okay, and or you are somebody who was on a career break. We get a lot of girl students who take career break, either they get married, they get relocated, they have kids, etc. Right? So it is for everyone who wanted to have their career in the core domain. Okay, that's one part, right? Second part, this particular webinar will not only talk about our course, even though that is one of the element in this particular course. We broadly talk about what is happening in the core industry, some of the trends that we are seeing, and how you can plan your career in this particular industry, right? So that way you can also use this particular webinar as an opportunity to interact with us, ask as many questions as possible. And some of you might have already talking to our counselors, trying to interested in joining the courses. And one of the key challenges that our course counselors have is when they talk over phone or sometimes over a chat, is that they can only communicate some good amount of information, but still you may have a lot of questions, right? So this particular webinar will answer all your questions, okay, and ensure that you are provided with a right information, right? And we leave it up to you to take the next steps, right? There's no strict guideline or something. This is what you should be doing, right? We always ensure that you guys are given the necessary awareness so that you are smart enough to take the decision going forward. That's the approach we take, right? So one of the key thing that I enjoy, right? I'm sure all my team is also joining, by the way, team of counselors. We all enjoy from Team Imerzi is the interaction that we have, right? The slide decks pretty much remain the same. Anybody in the webinar today who's attending for the second time? Anyone? Have you attended any previous monthly webinars? Or you could not attend completely, or you are attending second time? Anyone like that? Okay, so Sudarshan is telling third time. Okay, so some of them keep attending multiple times, right? So what happens here is that the content pretty much remain the same, right? The slides and other things. But even if you look at go and compare the previous monthly webinar to this webinar, yes, the slides and the theme remain the same, but the question and answer varies, right? And the question and answer is what makes this webinar interesting. So which means to say, I really encourage strongly all of you to ask as many questions as possible, right? I'll pause by and take questions as and when it is required. And once Mubin steps in, right, he will also start taking some questions, right? So we'll try to answer all the questions, all the questions from our side, right? Sometimes it may take more time, but we stay sometime late and ensure that all the questions are answered, right? In Imerzi, we say no question is a wrong question, no question is a stupid question, right? Every question should be answered with its merit in place. That's what we aspire to do. So feel free. It's not something you come here to know about a course, right? Have a broad mindset, understand what is happening in the industry, what are the trends, and how you can build a career going forward, right? That should be the approach. Okay. So with that note, can I get one go ahead so that we can go ahead and open up the slides? Can I go ahead and kickstart the webinar? Can I get a go ahead from? Okay. So Rakshit, Raghu, Kavin. Okay, so I need some more yeses. Yeah, Ranjita, go ahead. Says then Trishul. Wow. Okay, lot of people are telling. Okay, so thank you very much, guys. Let me put into the slide more. Please note in this webinar, all your messages are reaching me. Even if you don't see, you cannot see, but all the messages are reaching. It will be answered. Don't worry, right? If you're not able to get an immediate answer. So let me put the slide in the presentation mode. So once again, very warm welcome to all of you. Welcome to our monthly course demo and placement journey. So today is 25th June, and we are going to talk about our embedded systems course and related details. And let me briefly introduce our company and about ourselves. So Imerzi, many of you know, is an edtech company. We have started in the year 2003. We have been in this particular area for more than 18 years. As an organization, we offer courses in 3 technology areas. One is embedded systems, second is Internet of Things or IoT, and third is full stack web development, right? So in these 3 areas, we provide immersive hands-on courses where these courses will give you a practical exposure to these individual technologies. So these courses are either planned on a duration of 5 months or 6 months, depending on whether you are taking it online or offline, which I'll talk about in subsequent slides. But our idea is to bring in a practical perspective to these technologies so that you become employable. So if you see the right side of the slide, it says what problem we are trying to solve. The number one problem we are trying to solve is the problem of employability. As you know, India has become a country of engineers, where every year few lakhs of graduates pass out. Not many of them have the employability skill, right? And even people who get employability, let us say somebody gets into an IT company or something like that, they may not have the skills to get into a core industry like embedded systems or IoT, which I mentioned in the initial time, right? So our idea is to skill these engineers, give them a practical training, make them skilled. And not only that, when you are going on a journey of skill building, you also build your confidence and your self-esteem, right? One of the things that we recently are observing across the board is that because you're not got the real practical exposure, the confidence of the students is very low. That also leaves them to a lot of self-doubt, a lot of insecure feeling, because parents are asking, neighbors are asking, relatives are asking, when will you get into a job, etc., right? So we also understand that particular perspective, but we address the challenge by skilling you so that you build your confidence and self-esteem, right? So that's what we do in the employability side, right? In the same process, we also work on the upskilling, because Sampath asked me a question, is this particular webinar is for working professionals also? So what we see is that even though some of them get into employment, but that employment is not suiting to their aspirations. For example, somebody may be an electronics engineer, were very passionate or would have done some projects in their college in the area of like embedded systems or IoT, but they would have got a job in a, let us say, IT industry, right? Or some of them might have been forced to take up a job in, let us say, nothing related to technical, for example, technical support or marketing and sales or something like that, right? So these folks, if you wanted to come back, to the core, at the same time, you cannot leave the job, right? So, this course is for those individuals also, where you can utilize the, evening times. I'll talk about it in terms of the course packaging. You can take up this course, upskill yourself, and then you can get into the core job. So that way, upskilling is another area that we work. Not only the individuals, even organizations, right, who are looking forward to skill their employees. Okay, again, that can happen at an entry level, mid level, senior level, to train their employees. For example, we have been working with Robert Bosch for more than 10 years in training their college recruits, right? As you know, company like Robert Bosch, they have a campus recruitment program. When they recruit engineers from those predefined set of campuses, they do something called campus to corporate transition, where we give them a training on a specific topic that they're interested in, right? So that way they get ready for the project. So that way our target audience include the corporate organizations also. But over the years, we try to reduce and then focus on the employability and upskilling aspect, right? That's what we do as an engineer, as an organization. And any training program that we do, you can see the diagram there, making a pot, right? It's more, we take the approach of hands-on skill building based approach, right? Because many times we see engineering graduates come up with great marks, their CGPA percentage looks very well. In fact, a couple of days back, I was having a conversation with a company who wanted to recruit us. They're building a car surveillance device, right, where you can mount it in your car and the car gets surveyed. And this individual is based out of Singapore, right? He asked me a very interesting question. Why do Indian engineers, mark sheet looks so good, but when I ask them to, write a 4-line of program, or when I ask them to apply that particular knowledge, it doesn't talk something else, right? So that's where the whole problem is. Your skill looks very good, or your knowledge looks very good on paper, but when it comes to applicability, there's a huge challenge, right? That's where all the programs, whether it's embedded, IoT, or full stack, we make these training programs hands-on, right? And then ensure that you learn things in a very practical manner, right? So there are a couple of questions coming in. I thought I'll take it up quickly. Any programming knowledge required before joining to the course? Asked Rakshit. No, Rakshit. Okay, even though our course is heavily hands-on programming based. There is no prerequisite required. Okay, all of you can come with a zero knowledge. You don't need to know anything. In fact, I would be surprised if I say that if this particular course is open for students from any engineering branches. Right, 2 days back, we have placed some student who was taken our embedded system course from civil engineering background. Right, in the last monthly meeting, if you see, I shared a success story. I think his slide should be there in today's thing also. He's from mechanical engineering background, right? So no prerequisite required. As long as you are willing to learn and you are interested in this domain, you can learn. So there's no previous programming language required, but of course we'll teach you how to get there, right? Hope that answers, Rakshit. And second question, there's a question from Kalpana Cherichal, and hi, as a course is online, how this course is hands-on, right? That's a very important question, Kalpana. If the course is hands-on, at the same time it is getting delivered online, especially if you are delivering a course like embedded systems, right? How that is going to happen, right? So just wait for some time. My colleague Mubin will, his section will, answer your query, especially how we are going to use simulators, support systems, etc. Right? So that's how it is going to work on, right? Hope that's clear, Kalpana. And then there's a question from Hemant. He's asking when the internship starts. I think internship is not a part of this particular, webinar, Hemant. If you ask me, we also offer a free internship program for college graduates. We already offered. I think we'll be starting the program from Monday. Okay, but anyways, that internship is not the focus of this particular discussion. Okay, I think still there are questions coming in from Kavin. Kavin, hold on. We'll come back. Right. Let me go some more slides. Right. So talking about our leadership team in Emerzi, three of us are part of the team. Mr. Maz, who is the founder and managing director of the organization, who started Emerzi way back in 2003. He heads the organization. And I have my colleague Mubin, who is the technology head, and he primarily heads the technology delivery. He has got a huge bunch of trainers, 40 plus trainers are there, and we are continue to recruit more trainers. So he's handling them, and he's handling the complete technical side of it. That's where the question of Kalpana, whether she about how this training is hands-on, right? That question will be answered. And I'm Jai Kumar. I'm part of the leadership team. My primary responsibility in Emerzi is about placements, and I also handle some business-related responsibilities. So Mubin has come online now. Okay, you can see him. So let me quickly introduce, and then I'll hand it over to Mubin for his introduction as well. As I said, my name is Jai Kumar. I have more than 20 years of work experience. In my initial 12.5 years, I spent with three organizations in my corporate stint. Started with a startup called Ishoni Networks, worked in the networking domain in the embedded system space, and then moved on to HP Hewlett Packard for about 7.5 years, where I worked on the printer firmware development for HP's inkjet printers. Worked on various layers of connectivity, developed device drivers, embedded middleware, and then the networking application, etc. I was there about 7.5 years. Towards the back end of my career with HP, I was a manager there. I started leading a team of engineers. And then I quit HP after 7.5 years and went into Huawei Technologies. Huawei, as you all know, it's a Chinese telecommunication company. So there I joined as a senior manager or a group manager, where I was heading a team of about 70 engineers working on embedded Linux. As you know, Huawei has got a lot of product lines. So my team was working on customizing Linux for various Huawei's product lines. So I come from completely embedded background, completely in the delivery management, grew right from the hands-on engineer role to the senior management role, right? So and then I quit my corporate career in the year 2013 and joined Emerzi because of two reasons. One is I'm really passionate about education and imparting skills, and also I wanted to do something on my own, right, as an entrepreneurial setup, right? That's when Maz and me knew for a long period of time. I made my transition from corporate to entrepreneurship or my Emerzi, right? So that's my story. It's been about 8+ years in Emerzi, and it's been really fun, meeting a lot of young engineers, mentoring them, grooming them, working with a lot of corporate organizations, bringing them for recruitment, etc. Okay, that's what I do. I'd like to pause here and hand it over to Mubin to briefly introduce himself. Mubin, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Jay. I hope I'm audible.
Mubin?
Am I audible? Yeah, am I audible? Am I audible?
You are saying you are not audible to me, but people are telling yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, people are telling yes. I think you can go ahead. I don't know, due to some reason, it's no, you're not audible to me. Go ahead, Mubin.
Sure, no problem. Yeah, I'll continue. So, good evening, everyone. This is Mubin from Emergy. I work as a technology head at Emergy, and I have background in computer science. I did computer science engineering from IITM in Karnataka in the year 2003. And after I passed out, I started working at Emergy as a software engineer, wherein I got an opportunity to work to closer to 2 years developing different products in the area of embedded systems, Bluetooth, EDA software. So we as initially as a product company in the beginning, 3, and I got to work on different technologies, and later moved out to a company called. I got opportunity to work in the area of open source based technologies and sorry.
Mubin,
I'm
your
not
voice
audible.
is breaking. Yeah, your voice is breaking. Maybe you can just go off the video and see whether it improves. Yeah.
Yeah, I turned off the webcam. Let me see.
Yeah, looks better, I think.
All right. Yeah, I'll continue now.
Yeah, it looks much
Hope
better.
I'm audible now.
Yeah, guys, I think Mubin is audible now, right?
Okay. So, okay.
Yeah, much better, Mubin. Proceed, Mubin.
All right. So I worked in Novell for a brief period, wherein I got opportunity to work in open source technologies, primarily on Linux flavor called as Novell based Linux flavor, OpenSUSE. And after that, I joined HP, wherein Jay Kumar and me were like working in a different team, but we knew each other. And I worked there for more than 4 years in 2 different teams. One is like HP output management software, wherein we used to develop a software for like managed printing solution. And I also opportunity to work in HP print scan fax device driver team, wherein I was happy to lead a team of engineers who worked in the Linux printer driver division. And from there, I moved on to back to Emergy, wherein I joined back as a stakeholder. And currently, I'm working as a technology head, managing a team of technical mentors who deliver training in the area of embedded systems, IoT, and web application development. So that's a brief about me. I would hand over to Jaykumar to continue this session.
So thank you, Mubin. Mubin will join back. Means he will be there. He will take over the session when the technical side or the how the course is going to get delivered. When the section comes in, right? Solid. So that's a brief about our leadership team. And over the years, as many of you know, that we have been working with placement companies because our goal is to solve the employability, right? So in this journey, we've been working with a lot of companies working in the core segment, as I already mentioned. Be it networking, IoT, robotics, right? Electric vehicle of late, right? And these companies also come in different sizes. For example, some of them may be startups who just started as an entrepreneurial venture. As you know, Bangalore has become a startup capital of India, not only for India, even globe. It is getting a big prominence, right? A lot of companies are coming up in the space, and we have a lot of middle-sized companies. When it's a middle-sized companies, about 50 to 100 people companies, 200 people companies, and of course the bigger organization. So bigger organization, again, you can bucketize them into two. One is like these multinational corporations who have got offices in multiple countries. Primarily, they have headquarters in countries like US or Europe somewhere. For example, companies like Qualcomm, NXP Semiconductors, Infineon, Celsius Communications, HP, and you can see many other logos, right? Mentor Graphics, Harman, and even Sharp. So these type of companies hire our students, right? And we also have companies or big companies who are big, but they have their headquarters in India. For example, you can see logos like Tech Mahindra, L&T, even for that matter, HCL hire our students, right? Often we tend to brush away these companies thinking that, they're IT companies, right? But these organizations, even if you go and see today, Wipro, right, they have a big set of people working in embedded systems and even VLSI design for that matter, right? Over the years, yes, their IT portfolio has grown bigger than this, core engineering or the core embedded system type of area, but they still have teams working on, right? So if you see the logos like L&T or Tech Mahindra, even though they do IT services also, but when they recruit our students, they've been recruited for their embedded business unit, right? For example, L&T, they have a big embedded presence in Bangalore, Mysore. They're multi-city these days, right? And they're opening up more tier 2 offices like, cities like Baroda, etc. Right? So that's where you can see some of these Indian companies also hiring, right? And overall net we have about 1,200 plus companies, whichever is the who's who you can name it, right? You can see them in our placement portfolio. Again, it's too hard for me to show all the logos in the presentation, right? Some of them are here. Next 2-3 slides we'll talk about that. But if you look into our website and social media, we keep the entire placement information open and transparent. You can see, which company is hiring, who is getting selected, etc. Right? So over the years, we built a lot of reputation and trust with these organizations, right? That Emergy is a place where people do really good skill building, and by hiring from us, our trained engineers, right? These companies get quality trained engineers, right? So that's a trust that we are able to build over the period of time. And among these companies, 80% of the companies are repeat recruiters, right? Once they start recruiting, it's not that they come once and then they stop. They come and recruit our students again and again. 80% of them are repeat recruiters, and we are very proud of it, right? That we are able to establish trust with so many organizations, right? And we continue to build that portfolio, right? And these are all the logos, what some of you may be aspiring to have your career with, right? So that's what it is. And as I said, this particular presentation is not only about our course. We are going to broadly cover some of the job market trends and what these job market trends means to you as an entry-level engineer or a working professional who wanted to have a career in this particular domain, right? So let us cover, according to our perspective, what are the top reasons for the job search in core, right? Because when I say job search, in the year 2022, it has been a tremendous growth in terms of jobs. Of course, the jobs have been growing in all the segments. Definitely, it has grown very well in the core segment also. Even though there have been off late, there have been some not so good news coming up from the Indian startups, laying off people, and especially it is coming from EdTech, right? Companies like Unacademy or Vedantu are laying off some people. But if you look at the core segment, it has been really, really good. It's growing very well in terms of jobs. So let us try to understand why these trends are there. What are the reasons that are driving job search, right? And then I'll show you some statistics with respect to our placement data, right? So point number one, why these many jobs are coming is because MNCs are looking to hire beyond NITs and IITs, right? If you look at the logos which are shown in this particular screen, right? Majority of them used to hire from a definite set of engineering colleges, either IIT, NIT, or if they go to a state engineering college, they'll be running, they will be hiring from only few set of colleges, right? So that was the scenario. And even when we used to go and approach them few years back, saying that we have these trained engineers whom you can recruit and who are willing to have their career, and since they're already trained, you will get benefits, etc. The response used to be slow, right? Now, what we are seeing the last 18 to 24 months, ever since the second wave has settled down, is that there is a huge interest from these MNCs to look beyond these tier 1 colleges or the top-notch colleges and look into institute like us to hire trained engineers, right? So that's the reason why we see a lot of surge. Every other day, these MNCs are hiring our students, right? One of the key reason being that there are more number of jobs are moving to India post-pandemic. India is preferred destination for many countries to do software development. COVID has been one reason where a lot of digitization, automation is driving growth. And even if you look at factors like Russia-Ukraine war, which is driving more work to be done in India. For example, month and a half back, I was in conversation with a company, Pune-based company. They got about 200 people, 100 plus people, or 200 people to be recruited immediately because they were getting their automotive software development done in Ukraine, and you know what's happening there, right? So these type of factors are driving more jobs. You know, that's why these companies are looking forward to hire beyond NITs and IITs, right? That's point number one, right? Second part, even though we are pretty much out of a pandemic, hopefully it's under control, right? Because sometimes the numbers go high and we still are worried. But pretty much, one of the key thing that the pandemic has brought in is that the work from home, right? So work from home it's got its own pros and cons. Still, the HR community keep debating, and companies are trying to get back to the hybrid mode of working, etc. Right? But nevertheless, the work from home is normal. Even companies who started working, in our ecosystem, you can see they do more of an hybrid. Let us say 2 days you come from work from office and 3 days you work from home, or whatever is the kind of an arrangement, right? But one thing it has established is that work from home is indeed possible, right? And some of the companies are giving permanent work from home as well, right? So what has happened to people in the West, people in the US, UK, when they wanted to get their work done from India, earlier, even though some of them had concerns, right? Those concerns have been ruled out because the work from home be operated for at least 1.5 to 2 years when the pandemic was its peak, right? So those companies are more comfortable in getting work done in India. If you look at the previous point when I mentioned, more jobs are moving to India, right? So that's the reason why that companies are getting comfortable and more jobs are coming, right? Factor number two. Factor number three, if you look at the embedded systems or IoT, traditionally, if you look at, as I mentioned about myself, right, coming from networking, printing, telecommunication. So that's been kind of where the application of embedded systems was, if you ask about 4 or 5 years back, right? But if you look at today, embedded systems are touching everything that you can think of, right? One of the major push is coming in form of EVs, right? Electric vehicles, right? Electric vehicle, if you look at, right, completely that petrol diesel based thing is going to go, and then it's going to be entirely replaced with electronics and your electric vehicle. Not only that, even today, if you talk about the existing cars, right, even if you buy a petrol car today, more and more electronics are coming into the car, right? It could be in form of automated driver assistance system, navigation, right, or any kind of a smart features that you can think of, any kind of a advanced media player, whatever it could be, right? There is a good amount of electronics that gets into these type of devices, right? Cars. And if you look at, recently I was in conversation with somebody who's very passionate about automotives. He said, one of the Mahindras, I'm not talking about electric cars, even the Mahindras regular XUVs, in India, people need to wait for 1 year because there's a huge chip shortage. I'll talk about that also in my subsequent fact, right? So the car is going beyond seeing as just an engine which moves you from one place to another place. It has been seen as a equipment or a device which helps you a lot of entertainment, a lot of connectivity, a lot of safety features, a lot of smart features, etc. Right? So this is driving a lot of jobs. And of course, I don't need to talk much. I don't need to explain much about electric vehicle. So many startups are coming. Especially in India type of countries where the two-wheeler usage is very high. We see that more than four-wheelers, the two-wheeler market in India is very attractive, where the electric vehicle is going to play a more role. That is driving a lot of jobs, right? Second thing, if you see, the moment you put any sort of sensor into any device, right, any vehicle you can call, or you can talk about any type of a smart, anywhere you use the word smart, right, there's a data that comes, right? And if you look at on a media, right, there's a lot of gaga going around machine learning, artificial intelligence, data science, data, prediction based models, etc. Right? One thing all of us need to understand is that in order to build any sort of prediction or any sort of futuristic thing, the fundamental thing that is required by all these companies are data, right? For example, right, if you want to analyze the traffic in the city, you need a data, right? And if you wanted to analyze how the driver is driving a vehicle, you need a data. And where are these data is getting generated, right? The embedded systems is one of the most prominent sources where the data is getting generated today, because every small thing you can put a sensor in it, right? Even if recently we went to a conference, in Bangalore, and we got a water bottle. It's a smart water bottle, and I could see a digital display on top of it, displaying temperature. When I was showing that to my colleagues, they said, sir, this is still old. They're telling it will even give you measurement of how many liters of water you drank on a particular day, right? You see, these type of devices are hitting our life every other day. Gone are the days where you use such a plastic or those type of water bottles, right? So anything that you can think of, you can put a sensor in it and you can make it smart, right? And once the data starts coming in, the artificial intelligence or machine learning model which is going to run in this data, and it will give you analytics and prediction, right? Probably it will observe my water drinking pattern for 1 month and will give you, hey, this many water you drank and this is your health metrics, etc., right? So data, in order to get it, your sensors or embedded devices, small scale embedded devices especially, are going to play a major role. Okay, that is driving a lot of jobs. Point number 2, right? Point number 3, one of the key things that has happened in pandemic is the push for automation and digitization, where companies want to reduce their dependency on human beings, right, as much as possible, and even look at factories, right, where they're getting digitized. You can call industry 4.0. Existing industries are getting digitized. Or if you're forming a new industry, right, new manufacturing, where the human beings are replaced with robots, right? If you see even Ola Electric industry, it's completely managed and assembled by robots, the two-wheeler, right? You can see some of the videos in the internet, right? So these type of new age domains are driving a lot of jobs. Ultimately, it all comes to embedded system. That's what I like to say. Okay? And this particular point, I think we can talk about it all the day, right? The skill shortage in India. India has become a country of engineers, where we can even say first somebody will become an engineer, then think what to do in their career, right? So this is some pipeline you can see, right? This data is a predicted 2024 data. About 31 lakhs engineer are going to get graduated in India, where 4 lakhs get jobs through campus interviews. But even though they get 4 lakhs, right, there's a huge aspirational mismatch. When I mentioned initially, they get a job, but they don't get a job what they like, right? And 1 lakh students go for higher studies, which means to say every year we have about 26 lakhs of engineering graduates who requires to be skilled, right? And it's a huge gap. And our academia tried, and then they have their own challenges, their own limitations, right? I don't want to get too much into it, right? So that's where the demand supply problem is there, right? That's a huge demand in terms of job. Let me go into this is more of a supply side. But if you look at the demand side, how much amount of jobs are there, right, in the market? That's another question. It is a huge amount of jobs, right? So one of the point which I mentioned about the semiconductor crisis, where companies are not able to manufacture enough chipsets, right, which I mentioned, because of which if you buy a Mahindra XUV, you need to wait for 1 year, right? So this type of semiconductor shortage is driving more jobs, and India is trying to take advantage of it by not only being we have been very good in software ever since Infosys, Wipro type of company started in way back in 90s, right? We have been very good in software, even embedded application, any type of software. But in order to become really powerful in terms of technology, hardware is required. But if you look at the hardware manufacturing in India, they're more of assemblers. We never had a fabrication unit which will manufacture semiconductors, right? So that's where there's a huge push from the government to take the current situation into our country's advantage. There's already a fabrication unit that has been proposed and already sanctioned in the city of Mysore. That will be the first fab where it is going to come in, right? So this type of phenomena is also going to drive a lot of jobs, right? There's a huge investment by the government. There's a lot of incentivization from the government to set up the fabrication unit, right? That's going to drive, let us say, about 85,000 jobs every year. Added to that, if you look at the high level, the embedded system, ESDM they call, embedded system design and manufacturing, is having somewhere around 6.8 to 7 lakhs number of jobs are there, right? So these, if you look at there's a huge demand, but if you saw, there is a huge supply also, but the supply and demand is not matching because of the skill gap. That's exactly where organization like ours come in, and then they pitch in terms of skilling, right? So let me summarize. There are 5 reasons which are driving the jobs. One is like the MNCs having a lot of work. They go beyond NITs and IITs, and then remote working is normal. More work is moving to India because people are comfortable working from home. New age domains like electric vehicle, machine learning, and robotics, automation driving more jobs, right? And Indian skill building ecosystem in engineering colleges, right, remain the same. And finally, there's a huge demand due to semiconductor crisis. The global what you call geopolitics has happened, especially post pandemic, is turning out to be more favorable for India, right? So these are all very high level trends, right? I'm seeing a lot of questions coming in. Please keep typing. I have one more piece to cover, then we'll talk, we'll take some questions, right? Now, what does it mean, right? This looks like some kind of a news information, right? Somebody comes and talks in media and then gives you some kind of a gyan, right? So what this kind of trends means to an entry level engineer or entry level person like you, right? So this is what if you look at Emergy, how it is translating into, right? If you look at this year alone, right, Jan to June, right? June we have another week available for the month to close. Every month you can see 100 plus companies are lined up to recruit our students. Right? It started off very well in the year January 117, then 101, 111. I think in April it was 132, then in May it was 117, and in June we already at 102. We still have another week to go, right? So this is how it is translating into into what you call the number of opportunities that are coming in our way of students, right? Point number one, right? So which means to say, if you do mathematically, right, on a daily basis, easily 3 to 4 companies visit or 5 companies visit, right? But we may not be able to schedule. That's where the drive comes into picture, where we need to schedule and make it as a placement drive. And this is a graph which talks about the number of drives which are happening in every month. You can see here the green towers, which are the data of 2022, 71, 55, 74, 82, 73, and June we already done 48 drives. Definitely this curve will go up in the next week or so, right? So this is how the 2022 is turned out to be, right? But slightly, if you see the numbers with respect to last 2 years, that is 2020 and 21, 20 was very bad, especially when the pandemic hit, especially the first wave, the March April timeline. It was very, very challenging time for all of us, right? But once the nationwide lockdown got lifted, things started looking better. And if you look at 2021, the red towers was still better, but I would say as the year progressed towards the end, right, the jobs are looking even more better in terms of drives. October was a very, very happy day, happy month for us last year, where we did 50 drives as a part of our placement team. We're all delighted. But that number is no way comparable, right, compared to what we are seeing in 2022, right? So this has been tremendous ride in terms of placements, the number of opportunities our students are getting. In summary, there is no dearth of opportunities. That's what we would like to say. Okay? In fact, we are not able to satisfy the needs of our recruiting companies. For example, there is already question coming from Kavin, right, about Qualcomm, right? So for example, Qualcomm came with us last month. They said they want to recruit around 7 to 8 engineers immediately, and they could recruit only one person. Okay, so which means to say another 6 to 7 positions which we are not able to satisfy, mainly because they could not select our students, right? So every company it happens, right, where they're not able to make those many offers what they would like to make, which means to say there is still more opportunity for us. So just like that, if you wanted to do a rough mathematics, we have another easily around 6,000 jobs are available with the existing recruiting companies itself, right? So there is absolutely nothing to worry in terms of placement opportunities. Will I get enough opportunities, etc. And you saw how the 5 trends which I mentioned is translating into opportunity for our students, right? And when these opportunities are presented to students, how well they are converting this opportunity into jobs, right? So let me show you some recent success stories, and then we'll take some questions, right? If you look at the data, right, we'd like to show the data. Typically people, that's why I asked the question about have you attended previously. We show the data in 2 categories. One category is a set of students who are from the recent batches. So when I say recent batch or fresher, we call them as a 2020 and 2021 pass out. This 2022 they're not yet out, right? They're still finishing their examination. So we don't call them, we call 2020 and 21 as a freshers according to us, right? And anybody who is 2019 and above, I have a separate data, right? If you look at here, these are all the set of success stories in the month of June and some data from May where they're able to achieve the results, right? And if you look at this data is available in social media, we publish this. I just took some data because there's so many data in our social media. I just took few examples which I can demonstrate. And if you want to have more, you can go and visit our LinkedIn website or Instagram to get the latest data, right? So, and if you see majority of the students, they all, not majority, I would say all of the students except 1 or 2, they all come from whatever the so-called tier 2, tier 3 engineering colleges. For example, recently we have Shivakiran Shastri from AMC College of Engineering, Bangalore. People are from Bangalore are joining this call now. They can understand, yes, it's a decent college, but nowhere close to other so-called, high rated colleges, like, for example, RV College or BMS or any of those colleges, right? But he can join, and then he could crack a package of 22.56 lakhs. These are all real dream which is coming true, and which has happened in the month of June, right? This is a recent success story. And in the similar line, a lot of MNCs which I mentioned are hiring. There's a student called Abhishek who has attended our course in embedded systems, and he got a job in Honeywell for a 6 lakh type of a package, right? And there are companies like Electro Pneumatics, and I don't know the full name, right? They hire. There's a student called Harsh who is from NIT Surat. As I said, we do have some students who are joining from tier 1 colleges as well, so you could get placed at 7 lakhs type of a salary. And June we had another phenomenal success story in form of Likit, who got placed with Infineon. Infineon is one of the another top-notch semiconductor company, so he could get placed at 11 lakhs per annum salary, right? And we also had another automotive company, a German-based. Germany and automotive goes so well. Be it Robert Bosch, Continental, Vitesco. All these automotive companies are predominantly based out of Germany. And the similar lines, Electrobit is another automotive company from Germany, where student like Supriya got job with a 6.3 type of salary, right? And HP, right, where we worked, me and Mubin was part of the same division, is recruited our students. Sanjit got placed last month. I think along with that, some more got placed. I just picked up whatever the data I could get hold of, right? And then, he gone with 9.6 lakh type of salary. And as I said, a lot of automotive companies, including Veoneer, are hiring, where students like Harshita could get into salary package of 5.25 lakhs, and the list goes on. As I said, this is just a snapshot which I have gathered by looking into the recent our placement, what's happening here, right? And as you can see, right, these students are from tier 2 college, right, and they come from both online and offline courses. There's no limitation that only online students are getting premium job, no offline students are getting job. There's no limitation like that, right? It purely depends on you. Second thing is, right, they are able to crack, and I'm seeing incrementally more. I'm keep discussing with our placement team. I tell I call them as a 2-digit companies. And when I say 2-digit company, where the CTC is 10 lakhs or more, right? We are seeing more companies are coming. Of course, companies like Qualcomm has been recruiting from us for quite a long period of time. And even if you look at in the recent past, right, companies like Infineon, Microchip, and even NXP Semiconductors for that matter. I tried to dig in the data, I couldn't get. We had students who get into a salary of around 13 plus LPA kind of a mark, right? And we had one more company called Chelsea. I think that data I have in the working professional or the evening working professional category, some older batch. You could get into 14 LPA kind of numbers, right? So we are getting more companies. Definitely there are a lot of them in the 5 to 7, 5 to 8. Kind of data people in that bracket, right? You can see them, and of course something more than 10 is also happening, right? So this is the set of snapshot of students who got from the 2020 and 21 type of a data, right? So let me also show some little bit of different variety of data, students from an older batch, because many of you, I'm already getting some messages saying that, sir, what about students from old batch, right? And then are they getting jobs? And then what about people with year gap, etc. So let me show some success stories from there. We had a student who's a Rakshana. You can see that she's from a 2018 pass out. She was able to crack a job with Chelsea Communications for 14 LPA. And this student was an online student, by the way, right? So this is one example of people. Sampath is asking. Yes, Sampath, these are all working professionals, right? Okay, so you guys will start doing James Bond job now, right? You show me all possible data, right? No problem, we'll keep showing, right? And we have another students, right? These are all the students who are from the what do you call from either they're from 2019 and above, right? And some of them are working professionals. I don't differentiate, but this just to show data. These are from older batch students, right? You can see students like Uday getting into a company like Laxman Systems, right? And this is Mukesh, who had, I think, about 5 years of work experience. He got a job in Carnex Solutions, right? And in companies like Honeywell, interestingly, for example, students like Kathiravan and many of them, I don't have the exact data here. Even I think Kathiravan and Harish are very good friends. They are from 2018 batch, right? So these folks are from, I would say, older batches where they're able to get, into companies like Honeywell, right? And interestingly, when I said the student like Shivakiran who got Qualcomm, right? Interestingly, we are seeing a lot of sibling success stories, right? You can see Shruti Shastri, who is a 2019 pass out. I think she did her course in the year 2020. Shivakiran is a 2021 pass out, but he did our course in 2022, right? They're all the elder sister and he's a younger brother, say coming from the same family, and she got placed in NXP, and he got placed in Qualcomm, right? And we are really heartened to see such success stories where imagine two kids from the same family, coming from middle class background, coming from a humble background, are able to crack such a what do you call premium job, right? It makes a lot of impact, right? So the stories goes on and on, right? In terms of that, if you really need more data, data is plenty. It's available. As I said, my job is just to compile them and show some of the success stories, right? So let me summarize with a few points, and then I'm seeing a lot of questions lined up. We'll take up some of the questions, right? Point number one, we saw high level trends, right? 5 trends which is influencing more jobs coming in the core sector. Point number one, right? Point number two, we saw statistically how these data means to placements for us, right? People like us who are getting trained, right? How that is translating into. Then point number three, we saw when these opportunities are presented to people who are going through our training program, right? How they're able to crack those opportunities into placements, right? And they're all coming from online batches, offline batches. They're from recent batches, old batches, working professionals, and somebody coming in online, regular, online, evening, all permutation combination we are getting, right? But irrespective of all, as long as people are focusing on the skill building, they're able to see the success, right? That's the only summary I want to say, that if you build a skill, definitely job will come to you. Okay, absolutely, there is no doubt about that. I hope that message is loud and clear, which is the goal of this particular segment, right? Before I think we'll move on to the next segment of course demo, right? I would like to pause here, and I would like to. I see a lot of questions coming in. Let me take some of the questions, right? Let me maximize the question. Okay, right. There's a question from Robin Raj. He's telling, sir, I completed BE Mechatronics in 2020. Will this year gap a bit of drawback while placement period? No, Robin. That's why I showed you the people who are from older batch, right? So typically you have these questions. I have a year gap due to many reasons. You tried for some other job, or you applied for GATE, right? Or you tried for some government exams. It could be any reason, right? So those year gap doesn't matter at all, because when the companies come to hire from our place, right, they don't bother about the year gap. They really bother about the skill, right? They say as long as you have the skill, you are welcome to participate in the drive. And statistically, what we have seen is that 40% of the companies, okay, let me repeat, 40% of the companies, they're telling you can be from any year of pass out, not only 2020, you can even from 2012 also, 2012 also, no problem. Okay, 40% of them, they're telling no year of pass out. You can be from any year, but still you can apply, right? So people with year gap, people with older batch, because a lot of questions will be coming in from that direction, right? Okay, absolutely no problem, because I say, let me repeat, companies are hiring because of the skill, not because of your year of pass out. Because if you're really bothered about year of pass out, if they're really bothered about CGPA, they can go into a campus recruitment. No, why they need to come to us, right? They come to us because of the skill. Okay, hope that's clear. Robin Raj, you can just confirm once this question answers. Then there's a question from Kavin. Sir, if I'm interested in embedded systems domain, along with that, I was looking to improve my salary package to above 15 LPA. Whether you will provide placement opportunity above 15 LPA. So Kavin, we generally do not entertain students to look into their career in terms of LPS, right? LPS will automatically happen if you focus on skill building. Okay, it's like people say, right? You play your, if you're a cricket player, you focus on your game, scoreboard will automatically keep ticking, right? So if you look at these students, let's say if you see somebody like Shivakaran, if you go and ask them 6 months back, okay, I wanted to only get into the 22 lakhs per annum job, it will not have happened, right? But yes, there are a lot of companies are recruiting more than 10 LPA, okay, as I mentioned. But you, as long as you focus on the skill building, yes, it will happen for sure. Okay, but do not have that expectation upfront, right? You keep it as a goal, but every day don't get up and say, will I get 15 LPA? Will I get 15 LPA? Right? That is not going to happen. It's like something like you play one ball and then look at the scoreboard, right? It's not going to help you, right? Focus on skill building. Play well in the in your every day-to-day assignments, projects, skill building part of it. Then definitely 15 LPA will happen for sure. Not only for you, for anyone it will happen. That's the only secret weapon, right? But don't have it as a every day morning you put a poster 15 LPA, right? Then it will only increase your tension. Then your probability of you getting performing well goes down, right? Don't keep that pressure. Focus on the skill building. Pressurize yourself to build skill. But yeah, definitely 15 LPA will happen. No problem. Okay, I shown you enough one more examples, right? Hope that's clear, Kavin. Let me move on. Go down. Then again, one more question from Kavin. Sir, can we say that if electronics was there in a circuit means it was called embedded systems, or the circuit which has a microprocessor or microcontroller is an embedded system, sir? Okay, so you're talking about the definition of embedded systems. Again, that it will become a technical discussion if you go too deep into it. Very simple, you can say what is an embedded system. Okay. I'd always tell this example in my classes, to even people coming from mechanical civil background also, right? What is the difference, right? Suppose if I want to buy this T-shirt, right? I have two options to do, right? One is I go and order myself, or T-shirt may be wrong example. Let us say shirt, right? I want to stitch a shirt. I have two options. I can go and buy a ready-made T-shirt, which is an L, XL, M, whatever is the size it is, and you can wear, right? That is a ready-made T-shirt. The other option is you go to a cloth shop. That's what you used to do when I was in my school, etc. You buy the cloth, go to a tailor, measure yourself completely, and you can even give, how you wanted to keep your pocket, how you want to keep your buttons, etc. Customize it for yourself and stitch a shirt. Okay. Let me repeat: ready-made shirt is a stitched shirt. Right? Okay. So your ready-made shirt is a general purpose system. Okay. I go and buy this T-shirt. I don't have any choice whether I don't like this button or little bit tight. I need to wear, right? But on the contrary, if I customize this T-shirt, that is called embedded systems. Okay. Customizing a software and a hardware for a particular purpose is called embedded systems, which will definitely include controller, processor. You don't get into that, right? You will get into this in a very simple way. Your job is to customize that cloth, right? You are going to play a role of a tailor to tailor the software and to work in a particular hardware. That is what embedded system. General purpose, it will run anywhere, right? Probably the same, L T-shirt will work for you and me, right? But we may not be having the same physical structure, right? That's what it is. So you need to wear it. That's what general purpose of software is all about. Embedded systems is all about customizing software for a customized hardware. Hope that's clear, guys, because many people are very confused when it comes to definition of embedded systems, let alone building a skill about it, right? Hope that clarifies, Kavin. Okay, just confirm once. So kindly differentiate between VLSI and embedded systems. Okay, there's another question here. So VLSI is entirely with hardware side. Okay, like for example, you have a board, right? Board will have all the components you mentioned in terms of your chip and all the peripherals and all the input output, all the human interfacing devices, etc., etc. Right? If you talk about let us say the speaker, right? This has got a hardware in it, right? So and then it's got a chipset in, right? So before I put any piece of software in it, when I manufacture this board, if you cut open this speaker, right, I'll find a printed circuit board, right? So whatever happens, board and before board is what your chipset comes in, right? So the chipset activity is what you call it as a VLSI, and then after that it becomes board where the chipset gets mounted, and then subsequently moved on to the software development, which is what we call it as an embedded, right? So embedded, when I say it's completely software, right? And VLSI, you say it's completely hardware. There's no relation, even though people tend to correlate them, VLSI and embedded systems, right? But they're entirely different. Right? Okay, embedded is completely software, VLSI is entirely hardware. Hope that's clear. Kavin, interesting set of questions. And there's a question from Muhammad Parvez Khan. He's saying he's already joined in the course, and there is a he's finding time hard to manage and things like that, time wise. So I think, Mohammed, this is not the right forum, because since you're already our students, so please get in touch with our student success team, student support team. I think there's also a student success manager who is recently meeting all the batches, right? So please send a mail to support@emergy. Ms. Kavyashree will get in touch with you, and you can discuss this. Okay, but this is like more for a webinar for the outside participants. Right? Any course related concerns or any difficulty you have, so please talk to Kavyashree. Okay. Then again, there's a question from Kavin. Sir, will Qualcomm will recruit every year? Okay, yes. Okay, more or less every year, every company recruit, but it purely depends on the demand, right? Not only Qualcomm, any company. This again, my students ask me this question after joining, right? They ask me, sir, will Qualcomm come next month? I said, I don't know, right? If you ask me, will 100+ companies come every month? I can say yes, right? But will this same company will come next month? We don't know. It purely depends on their their needs, right? Of course, our objective is to bring more companies. That is always our endeavor, but it depends on the company's business. I cannot go and force every month you come, right? If they have a need, they'll come. But largely, yes, every company. That's what I mentioned initially. 80% of the companies are repeat recruiters. Okay? So we can probably say that yes, they come very often whenever there's a need. Okay? And there's a question from Bharati Kumatagish. Is there any year gap students get recruited? Yes, I already mentioned. Good amount of year gap students get recruited. In fact, we keep showing a lot of such success stories, right? People had gap between MTech and BTech, or as I said, a lot of our girls students need to take break, many reasons. Yes, we do have a lot of examples, right? Sampath Kumar asking about working testimonial of working professional. I think some of them I showed, Sampath. If you still need, you can check out our social media. We'll be able to figure them out, right? And then what is the, Suraj is telling, what is the percentage of placement in the institute? Yeah, this is a very interesting question, right? Okay. About how much percentage of your students get placed. Okay. And that's not a very, what do you call, straightforward thing, right? Because it's quite a, long process, right? So when you join our course, right, Suraj and all the people in the call, some of you might have already spoken to our counselor. They would have told that, from the time you finish the course, you get 2 years of placement support. So let us say somebody joins in June, they complete the course in the month of December, December 2022. They'll get unlimited placement opportunities until June 2024, right? So when you want to measure the placement percentage of a particular batch, okay, because we take batches, right? Let us say for let somebody joining in June, I will be able to get the data, real data, only when I measure in the month of June 2024. That's when you can say, all right, all the placement opportunities are given. Then what is the placement percentage, right? So that's why, earlier it used to be 1 year, then we made it to 2 year. It was becoming little hard for us to measure. But yes, we do have our own Excels. Our team runs a lot of data in it. But when you look into the data in the past, right, I would, pretty much say, with this 2 year of window, we are able to get 100% placements. Okay, people who are regular, they're attending, they actively participated in the assignments and projects, and they got a 2 year window. We have 100% placement, conversions. There's no denial about it, right? Hope that's clear, Suraj. But yeah, if you come and join the course one day and you don't attend the next 3 months, right? Then if you discontinue, we can't help you, right? People who are regular, yeah, we run the Excels. We have 100% placements, 100% placement record in all the batches. Okay, so I hope that's clear. Okay. Then Vaibhav is telling, sir, can you tell us data on students who have some year gap? I mean, someone passed out in 2016 but got job in 2021 or 2022 in the year. Okay, I think some question about year gap is coming. I did not have the data in this particular monthly meeting. I did not bring, but I think in the last webinar I did show some year gap success story. Give me a minute, Vaibhavi. I think since these questions are coming from multiple students, let me try to dig up at least some and show you, if not all, because there will be too many PDFs, too many data with me. Let me see. I think in the last month's webinar, I did show some data. Let me dig out that if possible. Should be there. It's May. Okay, May we had some data. Let's see. Okay, I could get some data from the last month or so. Let me share. So this is little old data. And this month also should be, as I said, I can't collect everything in it because only showing the success stories. Right? You can definitely go and dig social media Vaibhavi, you'll be able to get it, right? So let me show you this one, some of the older batch people, right? So you can see here, there's a student called Teresa Mary Paul, right? When you talk about the year break kind of situation, it largely happens to our girl students, right? That's probably where the Vaibhavi's question coming from, you being a girl, right? We had a student, Teresa Mary Paul. She's able to get a job after 5 years of career break. And by the way, she's our online student, right? Okay, this is one example. And similarly, as I showed, 2018 student getting job. This guy, showed in the last listing also. And similarly, these folks also from older batches. There's some people, April. And she, I think, Namrata is from a professor. People talked about career transition. This is one example where she was working as a professor, and then she had some break, and she could join. She's, joined in the month of April. And similarly, you can see Varshini. She's a 2018. You can see it's written there, and then she could join in Sama Connect, right? So this is some data. Let me show you one more career transition because there's some specific questions about this. And then here are some of the examples of somebody was working in Infosys as a software engineer, Rohit, and he was our online evening student. Apart from the Chelsea success story and some other thing which I showed this month, right? He could get transitioned into microchip, right? And then you can see another year gap. After BTech, he had a lot of gap. Then he did MTech. Even then he did not get job, right? And then he joined our course Vaibhav, right? Vaibhav, right? Sorry, I'm not wrong. Vaibhav. Yeah, Vibhav, right? Vaibhavi is asking about Vibhav. It's another student with a year gap. And then this is sometime back in Jan, it has happened where, we had placed a student who are working in Aeronautical Defense Agency, ADA, who got a job, into Qualcomm, right? And then another, some more, sibling success story. There's an L&T student who got job after 3 years of gap. And then we had somebody who is from a HR field getting into a core, right, after 5 years of gap, right? Goes on and on, right? Again, as I said, I can dig out. If I dig out, I'll be able to show a lot of data, okay? But this month I thought, I'll show this type of information. Hope that's clear. Vaibhavi, a lot of success stories in spite of having a, year gap, things like that, right? And Harshita is asking, sir, will you prepare us for interview for every company? Yes. Okay. Apart from, anyways, in Mubin's discussion, he will show some live examples of how our prep system works, right? Where our mentors do run a lot of preparation sessions, both topic specific. Well, for example, it could be a topic that is specific to Linux, or it could be company specific. Anytime there is a anytime there is a company that is coming, we create a specific WhatsApp group where that company specific questions are discussed, because over the years we would have collected a lot of questions from the past, right? Those type of questions are also getting discussed. Yes, there's a lot of effort from our mentors. Mock interviews, right, happens. Okay. Preparation is one very important thing. Even though you attend your regular classes and labs, there's a high chance that the day before interview you need to prepare well, right? Yeah, our mentors do a lot of work in that area. Okay. And there is a question from Rakshit. He's asking, I'm a working professional. I have 5 days working from 8:30 to 6. I reach home at 7:30. I get to know that course starts 7. Can you please tell how to manage this timing so that it will be effective in learning, right? So Rakshit, you need to manage that. You are the best person to manage that particular time, because our timings are fixed. In fact, labs even start at 6 p.m. right? But one thing that we do in our online classes, all our online sessions, be it lab or be it class, or even for that matter today's webinar, right? We do record these sessions, right? Okay, so you will be provided with recorded sessions. Hopefully, you'll be able to manage that half an hour gap with that. Okay, that would be the recommendation. But yeah, you are the best person to judge, right? Okay. Then there's a question from Jagan Behra is asked, can I join MSc Electronics Science and Technology? So Jagan, even though we opened up our course for all the branches in BTech, right? But with respect to MNCs, still we are not. It's mainly not from our side. You can do the course, but when you join the course, definitely placement is one of your key expectations, right? So companies are still not open to consider MSCs, right? Okay, when this particular all the other branches, when you say we'll support you with placements, that we are not telling by ourselves, right? It is a decision from the companies, right? Similarly, when we reached out to companies about MSc degree, right? They're still not open yet. Hopefully, we'll be able to convince them, like how we convince for all the branches. Then we'll be able to promise you placements. But if you want to just do a course for the learning purpose, you can do it. But placements, we cannot commit for MSc students. Hope that's clear. Divya Yadri is telling, I done BTech in 2012. Can I join the course? Of course, yes, right? No. As I said, 40% of the companies are hiring any year of pass out. Okay, I think we even placed students from 2012, 2013, 2014. Good number of them are getting placed. So I don't see any issues, right? Okay. So there's a question from Somashekar. So what are the recent trends that we should cope up so the industry requirement are met? So this is again a large topic to discuss, but I would simply put in two ways. Right? One is like even though there are a lot of advanced things are happening, right? People talk about industry 4.0. People say machine learning. People say we talk about metaverse. Right? A lot of things are happening, but one key thing we all forget is we do not focus enough on fundamentals. Right? Even though you want to do algebra, your basic mathematics should be good, right? So focus on foundations. When I say foundation, get better in the problem solving, algorithms, optimization, these type of skills, right? Irrespective of wherever you want to go. In fact, I know a lot of people very closely who are working in the machine learning area, even though machine learning looks very, very attractive. Fundamentally, it's all about problem solving. Point number one. Point number two, Somshekar, get hands-on. As I told in the initial, 26 lakhs of engineers are not getting jobs. It is not because they're not capable. It is not because of their CGPA is bad or they cannot, learn or something like that, right? But you guys learn, but in engineering college, you learn everything theoretically. So get hands-on and do some hands-on thing. That will only help you to cope it up. I hope that's clear. Then there's a question from Kamala Bai. She's asking, is it required any basic coding language, right? Yes, coding is required to get into a job, but as I already mentioned, you don't need to basically, learn and come. Rather, we say come here and learn, right? Because all our modules start with zero knowledge, or what you call, from the scratch, right? Imagine we're able to place civil engineering student this week or last week, right? Okay, how it is possible, right? So every module, every subject, we start from scratch. Then again from Bharat, 2018 pass out EEE with less than 60%. Suggest me, sir, can I join offline or online course? Okay, and there is no barrier. Okay, online or offline, any course you can join. Both are equally effective with respect to placements. In fact, your online course will work out to be cost effective because you can avoid accommodation in Bangalore, etc. Right? People know how expensive Bangalore is. So I would recommend you do the course online because there's absolutely no difference, assuming that you are staying outside Bangalore, right? If you're from Bangalore, of course, you can explore the offline model also. Okay. Year gap, says Robin Raj. Then how to enter core domain, says Somshekar. I hope it's clear. Then there's a question from Vidya Shri. She's asking, I completed MTech in 2015. I have only teaching experience. What about job opportunity, right? Vidya Shri, as I already told, I think this student was similar exactly from your profile. I think, I think I mentioned about not this. Yeah, I think as I said, right, Namrata. Namrata is a prof. She, I think, had a teaching experience, and in fact, we have a lot of assistant professors are taking up our courses, right? Okay, so there are people who are able to achieve transition from teaching experience to the software development or embedded experience, right? So very well possible. And when you're going for the interview, right, you don't need to hide this. Many people have this question. So should I hide my year gap? Should I hide my teaching experience? In my monthly workshop, we clearly tell no need to hide anything. Whatever you are, you put it. But on top of it, you show that you improved your skill or you worked on your hands-on aspect in emerging course. That itself is more than enough to, clear your, job. Hope that's clear, Vidyashree. So Kavin is telling clarified, sir. Okay. So Sampath is asking placement validity period. As I said, 2 years, right? From the time you complete the course, for 2 years, up to 2 years, you'll get unlimited placement opportunities, right? And then Bharat is asking, so how many students are there in one batch? Again, that's an interesting question, right? Roughly, Bharat, we maintain a ratio of maximum 40. Okay, we don't go beyond 40, be it online or offline, because if you go beyond 40, the attention to every student gets diluted. So we try to restrict at 40. In worst case, we are little bit here and there, maybe, but not beyond that. Okay? You can roughly assume 40 is our batch strength, right? Because some of the people come and ask, right? Some institutes are there who will put 100 students in a batch, right? So that will not happen here. Yeah, if you're running a webinar or our monthly placement meetings, yeah, all the students will attend. But class and labs, we maintain a ratio of, you can say, 40:1. Or sometimes when it come to labs, we, Mubin will talk about it. Sometimes we deploy 2 or 3 lab mentors for 40 students. Like, let us say 15:1 lab mentor type of thing, right? So that's very important, right? That's where the real skill building happens. I'm happy that you are asking such questions, right? Okay, rather than only talking about LPAs and premium companies, right? Yes, it will happen, but you focus on the process. Thanks for asking that question, Bharat. Okay. Do companies prefer offline students over online students? No, Pratik, there's absolutely no this thing. In fact, I think I forgot to tell this point. 95%, or in fact more than 95% of the companies are recruiting online. Means the recruitment process is online, be it written test, be it interview, be it onboarding. Still, it is 95%. More than 95% is happening online. Only very few companies, that too probably for a final round, they're calling them physically and take up the process, right? Okay. And when you're appearing for the interview or a written test, we do not tell to the companies whether you are an online student or you are an offline student. In fact, they don't care. Okay. They know very well that we are offering online program also, right? We do not mention, okay, for example, Pratik is an online student and Jagan is an offline student, right? We don't mention. For us, you are our emergency student. The same thing, we also run IoT program, right? IoT also has got online, offline. We specify you are an embedded student or IoT student, that we specify, but we don't specify online or offline. They don't care. They tell, they don't care which medium you learn, online or offline. They don't care which era password you are from. They don't care what is your CGPA. They don't care whether you are a working professional or a fresher. They don't care whether you're coming from a teaching background, embedded background, non-embedded background. They say, all right, I'm giving an opportunity, can you prove? Right? It is as simple as that. Right? Hope that's clear, Pratik. So, can you eligible to join any campus? Yeah, I think Jagan, I already clarified. MSc, no. Okay, we are not able to commit on placements. What type of projects will be having this course? Amrita is asking. That's a very good question, Amrita. These projects will be part of your courses. Okay, these projects are based on industry use case. Okay, this will be typically implemented by students for about 40 hours duration. Some students will complete early, some students will take more time. But by doing this particular project, you really get a feel of how a particular real-time solution has been built. Right? We'll not be giving the entire project. Every module will have project. But if you, as you work on more and more module project, you will get an incremental idea about how to build a real-time project. Hope that's clear. I mean to ask, after the completion of course, until how many days will the placement be provided? Sampath, I already clarified, 2 years. Right? From the day you complete your course, you'll get placement support up to 2 years. And by the way, you can start applying after the 3rd month. Once you complete your C, C++, whatever that initial modules, level 1 modules, you can start applying. Your validity will be there 2 years from the time of course completion. But if you ask me logically, 24 plus 3 months after course completion, you can add another 3 months. 27 months placement support you will get from us. 27, it's in fact more than 2 years, right? Then Harshita, I think a lot of questions are piling up. So during placements, did companies only ask for embedded systems course which you teach in institute or some other topics in electronics? Yes, they do ask whether you learned some fundamentals of electronics, right? We cannot restrict them, right? Only ask from our course, right? They do ask, and we also help you to prepare. But we also recommend students to revise some of the fundamental courses what you studied in your engineering, right? And even if you're from mechanical civil engineering background, in your first year you would have studied some electronics, right? Brush up that. That should be good enough. But yeah, they do ask some basic questions. Then John is asking best example for embedded system. Thank you, sir. Okay. Hope you all remember, right? Ready-made shirt versus stitched shirt. Okay. So then Sonu is asking, sir, could you throw some light on prerequisite subject knowledge before taking embedded systems course? No prerequisite, Tomar, Sonu Tomar, right? This is what I'm telling. Should I learn and come, right? We say come here and learn, right? Only prerequisite we have is you should be from an engineering degree. As I said, there was some query about MSc, right? Which you said no clearly, and we are very clear about it. When you say no, it's really no. One. Second thing is we recommend you have at least a first class degree. Okay, so you can apply to all the companies, even though 40% of the companies are telling no year of pass out, no percentage criteria. You can apply, but we recommend that you have at least 60% in your engineering, any engineering branch, no problem. It can be some civil, mechatronics, mechanical, doesn't matter. Hope that's clear, Sonu. So Kalpana is asking, so could you show us the course content? Hang on, Kalpana. I think your question coming from the similar thing of how the course online is going to get delivered and how this course content. So just hang on. I think I'll hand over to Mubin shortly so that he will answer those questions, right? Then, so during placement, did companies ask? I think the question is already asked. Harshita's also asked. Then Pallavi is asking, sir, do the students who got placed in companies have job bond for a particular years in core companies? That's a good question, Pallavi. It depends on the companies, right? Some companies will ask for bond, some companies will not ask for bond. In fact, that information also we make it clear to you. Okay. Again, there's a top bond. The topic of bond is very long topic, but since we have a shortage of time here, in fact, this answer I spent about an hour and explained in our monthly placement meeting, right? But since to briefly answer your question, it purely depends on the company. Okay? But that information will be provided to you upfront. Okay? Suppose you say, right, no, sir, I'm not comfortable with the bond, don't apply. As simple as that. But that information will be provided to you. Some ask for bond, some don't ask for bond. It purely depends on the company. Hope that's clear. Okay, then a lot of questions have come up. Oh my God. Okay. I think, guys, if I go into this, right, it is going to take quite a lot of time. I think the last question is from, let me see, from Somashekar Pallavi, right? Pallavi Dharmaji, right? I think she asked a question at 8 p.m., right? 20 minutes, you're running late. So from Somashekar, I think Sundravalli, Varshan, Vasumati, then we have Kamala Bai. A lot of questions have come. So let me pause here, because if we go, it's already 8:20. Mubin is waiting for us to start this session. Let me just say Pallavi, right? Let me like 20:01. So we'll pick it up from where we left off, right? Hopefully you can come back and answer all the questions, right? So I would like to pause here. I'll come back, okay, because if we make everything right now itself, then we'll not have time to cover our discussion points. We'll come back, guys, okay? So let me resume my slide deck and hand over to Mubin very quickly, because we need to discuss about the core side also, right? We've not spoken about the, we have been discussing more on the placements, right? We've not spoken much on the course. So let me cover a couple of slides and then hand it over to Mubin, right? Our embedded systems course, what are we trying to do? We discussed in depth already. And transform engineers with a skill gap, because that's the one key problem we are trying to solve, into ready to deploy resources in the company in the domain of embedded systems. And, our skill building is our key differentiator here, right? So there are three options for you to do this particular course. One is easy to understand, which is an offline model, where you will be coming to our Bangalore center. People who are familiar with Bangalore, we are based out of MG Road, next to the metro station. And there are some iconic building like, Higginbotham's, Deccan Herald building, Barton Center, etc. So we are located right on MG Road, where the physical classes are held. And we have roughly around 400 plus seater capacity. 3 floors are there where you can come, sit physically and attend the classes, right? So typically every day you want to spend about 4 to 5 hours, which includes the physical classroom and lab sessions. So typically we can say half day you want to spend either in the morning half or in the evening half. And then it is suitable for freshers, right? Because if you are working professional, you cannot take time off from your work, right? Suitable for that. Then second option is what you call online regular. Okay? In online regular, these are delivered as a live virtual classes. Live virtual classes are nothing but this, what I'm talking about, like this webinar itself is a live session with interactive question and answer. And very important thing, what differentiate our courses from other courses is the intervention or support that we provide to our learners. Mubin is going to cover in depth about it, because it's not only running videos and giving you guys a long session, right? It's ensuring that you guys build on it and you guys seek doubts, take support from mentors and demonstrate that project. For example, your C program is crashing. What do you do, right? And it's a hands-on. You need to build your skills, right? So that's where the intervention comes into picture. And these courses are delivered online, and the class timings are typically scheduled in the day. Anyways, the subsequent more details are coming in the next slide, right? So that's about the thing, and it is suitable for the freshers, but some of the working professionals, if you can take your time off, you can do this also. Ideally suited for freshers, and you can learn from anywhere. It's online, right? That's why I asked the question. We have pan-India presence, and some of the students abroad also taking our courses, right? Then option 3 is the online evening classes, where the timings are fixed. 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. it will be lab sessions, and then 7 to 9 it will be classes. And then throughout the day you'll have chat-based support, which Mubin will showcase shortly, which is ideal for anyone. Okay, even you can be. I think there are some questions there. If you're currently doing engineering, let us say you are a 2023 pass out, right? Or you're a fresher, or you're a working professional, this option will be more suitable. Okay. So this is the 3 modes. Let us do a detailed comparison, and then I'll leave it to Mubin to cover further, right? If you look at the offline course, this offline course is basically a 6 months course. Okay, you can see there, and totally there are 8 modules there. Modules include Linux systems, C programming, C++ programming, microcontroller programming, Linux internals and networking, embedded Linux on ARM, right? And finally we have the Qt programming, and of course data structures and algorithms, which come in in the beginning itself, right? So there are totally 8 modules. And as I already mentioned, you typically spend half a day, around 4 to 5 hours in our institute. So classes are held at 9:30, 11:30, 2:30, and followed by, or before that there's a lab session, right? That's what makes it half a day roughly. 6 days a week, Monday to Saturday. And since these students are attending the classes physically, they will not be provided with recorded videos, right? And these students will be using PIC and ARM boards, the real physical boards. You will be checking out from our team. You will be given, and you can check out, work on it while going back home. You can return and go home, and you will get 2 years placement support, right? All of them will get from the time of completion of course, you'll get that, right? Then coming to the online regular students, right? There is a slight change here. It's a 5-month duration, okay? And then 7 modules here, because the Qt programming, which is there in the offline, which is not there in online. The reason being, right, online going beyond 5-6 months is quite challenging. That's why we kept it 7 modules, okay? And 2 hours of live classes will be there every day, and 1.5 hours of lab, and 3 days will be there, lab intervention session, which Mubin will demonstrate shortly. And 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. live chat support will be there. Either you can connect to the mentors via the forum or via the WhatsApp, which Mubin will show shortly. Similarly, the class timing 6 days a week. But for online students, there will be a recorded video will be given. So in case you miss a class or you want to revise the session before you come to the next class, right? Some of you mentioned, right, sir, I will be able to join half an hour late, etc. Or in worst case, there's a network issue, etc. You'll be able to manage, right? In terms of hardware, since it is not feasible for you to use physical hardware, we have come up with a very innovative approach of using simulators. Again, Mubin will be showing you shortly. And this course, of course, comes with the same 2-year placement commitment, right? There's no difference in terms of placement in any of the courses you take. Placement remains the same. And similarly, the online evening class looks very much similar to your online regular class. Only change, if you see the major change in the online evening class, is the class timings. Okay, here the lab and class timings are fixed. Okay, 6 p.m. to 6:45, 7 will be the lab, and then subsequently you will have the what you call the this one, right? Your classes happening from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Similar to what we are doing this webinar today. And rest all will remain the same. You will be still using simulators, 2-year placement support, everything. And so this is the detailed comparison of these 3 courses. Okay. So I think I would like to pause here and then show hand it over to Mubin of how this is going to exactly get delivered. Give me a minute. I will change the presenter to Mubin. Mubin, are you able to share your screen?
Yeah, just a moment.
Yeah, sure.
All right. I hope you can see my screen.
Yeah, I think I'll go off the video, guys, okay, to retain focus. This session will be taken by Mubin, and once he's done, probably I'll come back again. I think due to bandwidth, Mubin also is off the camera to keep the, maybe, yeah, you can, yeah, it looks better. Yeah. So I'll go off the video and audio. I'll come back and join you guys later. Over to you, Mubin. Thank you.
I hope my screen is visible, everyone.
Yes, Mubin, it is.
Yeah, the only thing is I can't see the chat messages.
Yeah, no problem. I'll collect and share you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mubin. Yeah, thanks.
All right. So thanks for patiently waiting in this demo session. So what I'll do is I'll briefly talk about what the module, what each module comprises of. That is nothing but the subject which we'll be delivering, how it's delivered, and I'll also demonstrate like how the learning management system which is used by the students as well as teachers looks like, and what exactly you will be doing as part of the course, and how we enhance the students' capabilities so that they get like effectively get placed in good companies. I'll demonstrate that. So to begin with, so if you look at every subject, so each subject comprises of like class. So we'll be attending a class on a daily basis, 6 days a week. Saturdays, sometimes the class may or may not be there depending upon the schedule of the mentor and depending upon whether you have a test or not. So irrespective of that, on a daily basis, you'll have class and lab, assuming you have chosen the online regular course or offline course. Whereas in case of online evening batch or regular offline regular course. So if you look at the class duration, approximately the class is for 2 hours per day, and the class primarily is scheduled and based upon the batches. It could be either in the morning slot or evening slot, depending upon the batch which you choose for. So in the class, the mentor will be explaining the concepts in detail, and you can interact with the mentor. You can ask questions if it's online batch directly through the chat option, or if it's face to face, you can either there is no question how you can interrupt anytime and ask questions to the mentor. So class mentors, we have a dedicated set of class mentors who are experienced in delivering different subjects. They will be delivering the class, and you will be learning all the subjects from scratch. So many of them are asking the question, should have any background, right? So you don't have to have any background, any programming or in embedded systems. So irrespective of that, we'll be teaching you things from scratch. Only thing is, some people who don't have any background at all, maybe in electronics or computer science, etc., they will take some time to learn. But that is something which you can accept as a challenge and take it forward. So class and lab sessions will be scheduled regularly. Lab will be focused on assignments. You have to basically complete the assignments and you have to work on projects, as well as there'll be sessions dedicated for clearing doubts. So in terms of learning enhancements, so it's not just about learning, attending the classes or listening to the lecture. You have to make sure that whatever task has been assigned to you, for example, assignments are given or projects are given, we have to complete it on the time as per the mentor guidelines. So assignments are like short tasks which will be given to you, which you'll be able to do it on a daily basis. Primarily, you'll have assignments which are programming oriented. So for example, if we teach C programming or we teach you data structures, you'll have to learn C programming and do C programming based assignments or data structures and microcontrollers, where you apply the embedded system concepts and work on different modules. The assignments will be evaluated by the mentors and will be given grade for each of these activities. So projects, for example, will be given at the end of the module. Now, when somebody updates their resume, it's very important that you showcase the projects which you have completed. And projects do have weightage in terms of you showcasing your skills. And for example, many of you are asking this question, right? How do I get placed in better companies or premium companies? So if you want to get placed in good companies, you should try to complete as many projects as possible. For example, you recommend like you do 2 or 3 projects per module. This will definitely give an edge over other students who are comparatively doing lesser projects. Similarly, you will be given objective test and module test. Objective tests are nothing but MCQ based or fill in the blanks type of questions, which will be mostly conceptual oriented, which will help you to know where you stand in terms of your understanding. Okay, so I'll show you some samples how it looks like maybe in a few moments. Similarly, you will be given a module test. So module test is mostly given to evaluate your complete knowledge about the module. So it will comprise of like objective test as well as subjective questions and programming questions. So all these activities will be part of a single module. Every module will have class, lab, assignments, project, objective test, and module test. And all these things will be available through a learning management system, which I'll be sharing you in a while. Now, in terms of support, like if it's offline, then you can directly interact with the class or lab mentor during your class and lab hours. In terms of online batches, which many of them are interested in because they may not be able to come to Bangalore or they were already working and you want to take up a course sitting at your home. So they will have multiple options for seeking support. It's important that students or learners clarify the doubts and get things done by taking help from mentors. So we have multiple channels for seeking support. One is a WhatsApp group. So for every batch, there is a dedicated WhatsApp group. You can post your queries during the working hours. For example, you can between 9:30 to like 7 p.m. You will get dedicated support for your queries. Irrespective of that, you can ask questions in the group. Even if the mentor doesn't answer during the working hours, there will be other people who are part of the batch, and we encourage learning by supporting other peers also. So WhatsApp group is created to clarify our doubts and maybe help each other as well. Similarly, there will be dedicated doubt clearing sessions during the lab time. We'll schedule sessions so that any doubts which are there with you can be clarified. So we encourage people to ask questions, and asking questions is the best way to learn generally. Apart from that, there is the discussion forum, which is available in the LMS. So it's kind of like you might have seen something like Stack Overflow or in general discussion forums. You can post your queries there, and we'll be there to support you to answer your questions. So overall, we provide very good support in terms of clearing students' doubts and answering your queries. So you don't have to worry about, okay, if you have any doubts, etc. The support will be received immediately. So in terms of placements, for example, many of you might not have attended in interviews earlier. We want to ensure that people are ready for the real interview before they start attending interviews. So first and foremost thing is that you be prepared with the subjects which you have completed. So let's say you completed 3 or 4 modules and you want to apply. Before applying, you have to make sure that you take mock interviews. So mock interviews will be conducted by the mentors, and you will be asked questions based upon the topics which has been completed, and you'll be given feedback based upon your performance. So this will help you to bring in confidence in attending interviews. We wanted to ensure that everybody are confident in answering questions and they are also technically prepared. That's the reason we conduct mock interviews. Similarly, for many of the companies, we do have almost, I would say 90% of the companies, we do have a database of questions. So whenever the interview is scheduled by the client, we make sure that questions are collected and we share the question to the future batches. This way you have you can prepare well, and when the similar questions are asked, you can answer it more confidently. So this database will help you to clear the interviews relatively easily. We also conduct prep test. For example, many of the companies would have earlier visited us. We wanted to make sure that you are ready for the test so that we can help you to crack the interviews. So these are the items which are part of the placement preparation. So including prep test, there will be interview preparation sessions scheduled frequently by the mentors or whenever there is a need. We have a dedicated WhatsApp group for each company. Whenever each company visits, we create a WhatsApp group and we ensure that all communication happens with the students effectively, including the schedule of the interview, including previous interview questions. Any doubts related to the company, you can ask in the WhatsApp group for that dedicated company. And we have a very good placement team. We'll help you out in basically starting from the application, till shortlisting, even after basically getting your offer letter, will help you out in making sure that all the process related to the onboarding is completed. Apart from that, we have a student success team. So the student success team is not a technical team. So they are like dedicated counselors who have like experience in coaching students. So typically, many of the students are working professionals. They have challenges at home also, right? So they may have difficulties in coping with the course, or they may have personal basically issues, etc. So you can directly interact with the student success coach one-to-one. They will help you in supporting you, in guiding you in terms of how you can manage your time, in terms of how you can overcome your challenges. It's more of like a psychological counseling, I would say, which you can avail with the student success coach. I just wanted to share an overview about what exactly you will be getting as part of the course. Let me demonstrate how the learning management system looks like, which will be given to the learner when he enrolls for the course. Okay. All right. So hope you can see the screen. So here, this is a learning management system, or more of a learning portal, wherein whenever a student is enrolled for the course, they will be given access to the learning management system. So here, initially you'll be given access to the first course, which is Linux systems. So you'll get access to this after you join the course. Let me show you the dashboard, how it looks like. So this is a typical dashboard, how one second, sorry. Yeah. So typical dashboard of the learning management system. So here a student can navigate to each of the courses which is available. For example, let me navigate to Advanced C. Okay. So this is one module as part of the course, and each module comprises of different activities. So you can see assignments, you can see attendance. So we are very particular about taking attendance. Every class and lab will be monitored, and we take the attendance for each of this. You can give feedback anytime. Let's say you have some concerns or issues, you can give feedback in here, or you can directly contact the support team for any feedback, or directly contact the mentor. There is a discussion forum where you can post your queries, quizzes which you can take up regularly on a bi-weekly basis, or as and when the topics are completed, and there are dedicated resources. For example, let me show you some of the resources which is available for you for the Advanced C course. So in terms of like resources available, you will be given materials including slides. For example, each of the chapters, right? You can see here different chapters are there. In each of the chapters, there will be multiple slides available. You can navigate to those slides and you can access this slide content, for example. So this is directly available from the LMS. These slides are like, will help you to understand the concepts well, and you can revise the topics. Apart from materials like slides, will be given like project documentation, project template code, etc., which you can download and you can refer for completing the projects. Similarly, there are like assignments given to you. So assignments are graded, right? So there are initially will be given simple assignments, and each of the assignments you have to submit before the due date. In worst case scenario, if you're not able to submit, you can extend the date by asking with the mentors available. These are like smaller programs which you have to complete. As and when the topics are completed, you will be given more and more assignments. For example, in the C programming module itself, we have around 50 assignments to be completed. So assignments and project will be given regularly. You have to complete them and submit them to get it graded. This will help you to build your programming and logical skills. Apart from assignments, then you'll be given quizzes. So for example, you can see here there are objective tests given. There are some basic quizzes also given. So quizzes will definitely help you to evaluate your technical knowledge. And in interviews, the first round of interview mostly will be based upon the topics which you are familiar with. For example, C programming, right? This module is very important for interviews, and these objective tests will definitely help you clear the test which is conducted by the companies. So we can check with any student who has like participating in the course. They'll definitely say that, okay, if you are able to basically clear the objective test, then definitely you can crack any test from the company. Similarly, you will be given module test and Viva test, which will also evaluate your technical skills and knowledge. So apart from assignments and quiz, you'll have to work on projects as well. Now, in terms of technical queries, for example, clearing your doubts, etc., we'll give you access to the WhatsApp group and dedicated discussion forum, which I'll be sharing shortly. Okay. So whenever you have any doubts, you can post your queries here. For example, this is one of the batch groups, which is ECEP. ECEP stands for Emergency Certified Embedded Professional. So every batch there is a WhatsApp group created. So you can see like this is live, it's happening, right? Questions are being posted. As you can see, it's 8:44. People are still basically asking questions in the discussion forum. Okay, it's live. A lot of questions are there. I can see people are posting snapshots of their screen, right? Asking questions related to an assignment, and there are people helping out, right? You can see. So we have WhatsApp group which is open to all. You can post your questions, and mentors are there, or other students will help you out in solving your problems, right? Similarly, there are discussion forums here. You can see this is for a particular module. So discussion forums are there. So any student, so these are like students are posting their questions and people are answering those queries. Okay, so any question related to the subject you can ask. Okay, this way you don't have to worry about like you getting stuck anytime. So if you're getting stuck anytime, feel free to ask any question and we will be there to help you out. Similarly, there are other materials also available. For example, this is a like coding examples available. You can have a look at the code. You can see the documentation of it. You can even run the program here, right? You can see this is a shell script and you can run it. You can execute a program. You can see the output as well. So a lot of resources are available for you to learn, and we have dedicated support for you to solve your problems. Now, in terms of online batches, we'll also provide recorded videos. So if you see the learning management system here, so there are class recordings available. These are class recordings available for each of the topic which is completed on a daily basis. Date wise, you can see the topics. Click on this basically link and you can watch the recorded videos as well. Similarly for lab, there's a separate section for lab, right? You can see the lab recordings are also available. So assignment explanation, then test. After the test, we do conduct follow-up sessions. So it's not just that you take the test, you should be able to solve the answers as well, right? So it's important that you know how to solve the answers effectively as well. So objective test feedback follow-up sessions are also available in the learning management system. And you can also see the grades, okay, as you complete, right? You can also see what is the grade you have got as part of the module, right? The scores are also available in the LMS, right? You can see what is the score. The attendance is 100% or project score, etc. We can also see. Now that's brief about how the learning management system looks like. So idea is that we have a centralized portal wherein you can see what is your completion rate. You can access the resources, and you can ask your queries, etc. in this using this LMS portal. And the grades are also used by us to shortlist for like good companies. If you perform well, then we do select the top performing. We give priority to basically top performing students for these premium companies. It's important that you score well in all these activities in general. So the recorded videos are available for at least, I would say, for 1 year, so that you can continue to learn from these recorded sessions. What I'll do is I'll share a demo of the actual class, how it looks like. So many of you are asking how the live class looks like. So I'll share the demo of 2 sessions, which is like an edited sessions. We just cut down into a smaller, basically, video, so that you can have a feel of how the C programming module and how the microcontroller module looks like for the online batches.
These are the total memory allocated. Now, after an array has been declared, maybe I want to give the values into the array, because just the array's declaration will have garbage value. Assume I take int array of size 5. Okay, there has to be 20 bytes of memory allocated. Assume this is the 20 bytes of memory allocated for the array. So I'm storing 5 integers. So each
Mubin,
integer takes how many bytes?
You're not able to hear the video.
Each integer takes how many bytes? Correct. So each integer takes 4 bytes. So if the starting address of the array is 1000, where will be the next element present? If the starting address of the array is 1000, where will be?
They're telling it is audible. Maybe for me it is not. I don't know why.
Where will be the next element present? Assume this is 1000. Where will be the next element present? Yes.
Okay, no problem.
Each
Proceed.
of the element uses 4 bytes. So it is 1004, then 1008, 1012, 1016. To access the array's element, you have to go with something called as the index number. An index number varies between 0 to size -1. So very first element will be in index 0, second element will be in index 1, third element will be in index 2, fourth element will be in index 3, and fifth element will be in index 4. Okay. If you just declare the array like this, the array's element will have garbage value by default. So in order to not have a garbage value present inside the memory block, maybe I want certain values to made sit inside it. In such cases, I have to do the array's initialization. To initialize the array, here inside the curly braces, I have to give 5 elements: 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. In that case, that value will be written here. That will be 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. Okay, this is how I declare the array. This is how I do the initialization, and this is how the memory for the array will be allocated. Accessing happens with respect to the index number varying between 0 to size -1. See here, data type, name, size, where size represents the number of elements. So the total memory occupied by the arrays, number of elements multiplied by size of an element. That is in turn size into size of the data type. If this is the array I'm going to take of 5 size with the values 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50, this will be the array. So the very starting address of the array always is called as the base address of the array. this address 1000 will always be called as the base address of the array, or you can also call it as starting address or address of the very first element of the array. All of them means the same, but we usually refer it as base address. Okay, you can call it as base address, or you can call it as the starting address, or you also can call it as the address of first element. Okay, the starting address is called as the base address or starting address or address of the first element of the array. So then it is plus 4, plus 8, plus 12, plus 16. Index has to vary between 0 to size minus 1. So it has to be starting from 0. An array is a collection of similar data type. Elements occupy consecutive memory locations. First element will be in the lowest address and last element will be in the highest address. Elements are indexed from 0 to size minus 1. So if the size of the array is 5, index will vary from 0 to 4. Accessing out of the range array elements would be an illegal access. So whenever you have to access the elements of the array, you have to go with the name of the array, then the index number. Okay, so array of 0, array of 1, like this, you have to go with the index number. So if the index number varies between 0 to 4, I can access only between array of 0 to array of 4. Out of the boundary, that is accessing array of minus 1 or accessing array of 5 is not allowed. It is an illegal access where you might get to see a error. So accessing out of the range array elements would be illegal access. You should not access the elements in array of minus 1 and array of size. And once the memory for the array is allocated, it can never be altered in the runtime. That is, while executing the program, the array size can never be modified. So if you declare an array like this, it will be 20 bytes of memory allocated for sure. So this size can never be altered throughout the program. Again, here in double denum of size 6, there will be 48 continuous bytes already allocated. You never get a chance to increase or decrease the size once it has been allocated. So this is the concept of array. Clear this much? Okay. So have this one noted. The next we will see is how to print the elements of the array. Okay. So there are different ways of printing the array's element, which we will be seeing shortly. Before that, have this one noted. So the next we have got is to print the array's element. So when you are supposed to print the array's element, we usually go with the name of the array and the index number. But that has to be done on a repetitive manner. So what is it necessary to be used? What is it necessary to be used if I have to print? Yes, loop is definitely necessary. So I can print the array's element in any of a loop considered. Observe. Okay. So first I try printing it in a for loop. Int array of size 5. I also do the initialization with 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. I need another integer variable I for the sake of index. So I will first say it as printf arrays elements are. Okay. So I run a for loop for I is equal to 0, I less than 5 and I plus plus, because 5 is the size of the array. Inside this, I go with the printf. Sorry. Yeah, so printf %d \n, comma, array's name with index. Okay, so first array of 0 will be printed when I will have a 0 taken, then array of 1, then array of 2, array of 3, array of 4. When I becomes 5, 5 lesser than 5 will be condition false. You come out of the for loop. Observe the output here. So I'm compiling and executing. These are the arrays element which I am printing using a for loop. Let me change this. I try printing using a while loop. So if it has to be with respect to the while loop, go with an initialization done for the variable I. Then you can have it taken something like this. While I is lesser than 5. So then you can print using the same statement. Okay. So this is how you print. Is this sufficient? Is this sufficient? Correct. So I++ is necessary to be done because I will constantly be 0 all the time. So 0 lesser than 5 will be true, array of 0 will be printed. Then it has to be array of 1, array of 2, array of 3. So I++ is required. This is how you print the arrays element using a while loop.
All right, folks, this was a demo of how a topic like array was covered. This is just for 10 minutes. In fact, the topic goes on for a long time. So I just want to demonstrate how the online class for a programming module looks like. So effectively, you will not find any challenges if you attend the online or offline class. So you just need to have a laptop and help you to install all the necessary software so that you can write the programs and execute it. Now, many people have a question how the embedded system course, especially the microcontroller module, can be taken up online, right? So I'll show a demonstration of how the microcontroller module is taken online using a set of tools, including the programming development environment and the hardware simulator. So we use a simulator called as PixSimLab simulator, which works effectively similar to a real hardware. So even if you don't have a real hardware, you can work on embedded systems by doing microcontroller programming. And this video is a demonstration of that. You may have to raise your volumes a bit because the audio is a little low for this video. You can increase your volume, I would suggest.
This conference will now be recorded.
Hello everyone. In today's class, let's see how we can write an embedded program to toggle the LEDs connected to the board bit. So now to write the embedded program, we are going to use the tool MPLAB XID. So you can see here. So this is the MPLAB XID. If you open this, you will see this as a starting page. So some projects are mentioned here, datasheet is available here. Even if you worked on some recent project, that list is available. See, and even you will get the microchip login. So if you have a login ID password, you do the login, and you can do the purchase on a microchip website, right? Okay, so now let me go back to the question. So question was, we wanted to toggle the LEDs connected to the port D. So now here in this MPLAB ID, you can see these are the different tools available. So we can use these tools as per the requirement. For example, this is to create a new file. It's to create a new project. It is to open the project. This option is to do the build. You can see different many options are there. So as per the need, what we will do, we will take an approach. Whatever we need it, we will start using those things. Now here in this MPLAB XID, I already created a project and kept it ready. So project name is what? LEDs. So in this project, I created. So when this project is created, this MPLAB XID create some organized sections. You can see here. So now to write this program, to write the embedded code, we need a main.c. So generally .c files goes here in this source file sections. Header files goes here, make file will go here, linker script will go to this section. Or if you need any libraries, if you are planning to add any libraries, then those goes into this section. And finally, this is the place for your executable file. So let me go to the main.c. So you can double click and open the main.c in the editor window. So now you can see I'm defining two macros. So instead of using port D directly, so what I did, since if you see the hardware, on the hardware, so you are having total 16 LEDs. So this is the PiximLab simulator board. So it's having total 16 LEDs. So currently we are going to toggle LEDs connected to the port D. These are the these are the 8 LEDs out of 16. So these 8 LED array we are going to toggle. Toggling means on off we are going to do. So now since I'm having 8 LEDs, I'm defining the micro LED array as a port D, and to give the direction to the port pins there is a register TRISD. I'm defining that with name LED array data direction register. Now you can see here comes my main. So here I'm calling init config function. So this function is to do the initialization. So what we are doing, so in main itself, we are not doing initialization. It doesn't look good. So there is a separate dedicated function to do the initialization. It is init config. So control will go here and here in this init config. So initially what we are doing, if we are using LED, we need to set the pin direction as output. So I'm writing my LED array data direction register as a 0. It will set port D pin as the output, and to start with initially I will keep all LEDs connected to the port D as a off. So to turn off the LED, I need to load 0. So I'm writing here 0. So LEDs remain off, fine. And here comes our while one. So if you see any embedded system, once you turn on the embedded system, it runs forever, right? It goes into infinite loop. So here come my infinite loop while one. So inside this while one, we are going to write our application. So what is our application? We wanted to toggle the LED. So here is my instruction to toggle the LED. So I'm writing LED array equal to tilt of LED array. So what it will do, it will toggle the values of this LED array. If it is 0, it will make it 1. If it is 1, it will make it 0. So now you can see. So this is what 0x00. So after execution of this instruction, this LED array value becomes 0xFF. So entire port becomes 0xFF. All port bits become 1. So all LED turn on. LEDs are going to be turned on. And here what I'm doing, so before going to this instruction once again, I'm putting the delay. So if this delay is not there, what happens? We will not be able to see the LED toggling. So it will happen at very fast rate. Due to the persistence of region, we will not be able to capture it. So I added the delay. Then after this delay, what happened? Next time, since we are in the while one, control will go back here. So again, we are changing the LED array value from what? FF to 0. So now what happened? LED become off, then again delay. So like this way, we are making LEDs on, LEDs off. Fine. Now. So we have to build the code. We have to compile the code. How we can do? So here in this MPLAB XID, I install X8 compiler. So that's why this header file is also included related to the compiler. So now how you can do the build? So you can see here is one option to do the build. So let me click on that. It will start doing build. My project is getting a build. Now you can see build is going on. So it will take some time. Please wait. Now see, build is successful. That means your hex file is created, and even it will give you the memory summary of your project. So now my hex file is created and it is loaded also. Now what we can do, so we can load that hex file where in this board. So we can run that hex file here in this microcontroller. So this is the heart of this board. So basically here we are using PIC16F877A microcontroller. So we are going to load the hex file here. How? So you can go to the file, you can select the load hex. You have to navigate wherever your project is stored. So let me navigate. So now just for the sake of simplicity, I kept the project on the desktop. So let me select that. Now again, you have to go to the distribute directory. So basically, you have to use this path. After build successful, it is prompting the path where X file is available. I'm just referring that. Then you have to go to the default production. Here is the X file. Let me open. Okay, expected output is what? These LEDs should toggle, but it's not happening. Why? Because these DIP switch related settings are not done. So to turn on the LEDs connected to the port D, this DIP switch, second one, you have to pull this switch up. So let me do that. So it's down. You have to pull it up. So let me select. Now you can see the change here. So what this program is doing, it's running in this microcontroller and it is toggling the LEDs, and even we are able to see that toggling very clearly, right? Okay, so this is our program, our embedded code to toggle the LEDs connected to the port D. Fine.
Hope you got an idea of how the microcontroller program can run using a simulator. This was just a demonstration of a single program using LEDs, which is to toggle the LEDs. Now there are other peripherals which are available on the simulator as well, which we will be using as part of the course as and when there is a need. So you can interface additional hardware and you can learn all the concepts related to microcontroller programming using this simulator. Now I'll share one more small thing I left out is regarding the placements. For example, we have like dedicated groups, WhatsApp group. I'll just show you a sample of that as well. Okay, so for example, let's say for a company like Honeywell, right? You can see Honeywell have visited us many times. So if you look at the left side, you can see the number of times Honeywell have visited. And we do mention the company name as well as the month they visited or location they visited, etc. Right? So this is like today's drive. It's happening today, and you can see people are updating the status of the completing the interview, what kind of questions they're asking, right? You can see here, so that other students who are having upcoming interviews, they can prepare well as well. You can also see some of them, right, are giving a status. I did not get a mail for HR discussion. That means he is cleared the technical interview. He's waiting for the HR round, right? Lots of basically communication happening in the WhatsApp group. You can see, right? As you can see, this is like one of our placement managers, like Lokesh, is updating, right? So some status information, etc. So likewise, for every company, you can see there is dedicated WhatsApp group created, right? So you can see here. You're checking, right? Even after getting placed, there is communication happening, right? They are telling, I got the offer letter, sir, right? Yes, you can see here, right? Messages going on. For every company, there is a dedicated WhatsApp group, right? You can see here, Qualcomm, all these companies, right? You can see there is dedicated WhatsApp group available. So just wanted to share you this information. I would like to hand over to Jay. Jay, you can proceed with the remaining topics. You're on mute, Jay. You're not audible.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. So there are some questions for you from the students. There's a question from Sampath is asking, can we download the recorded lectures?
As I told you that like recordings are available in the LMS, you can watch the videos from the LMS. That's what we recommend.
Okay, so download option is not there, right?
Download option is currently it's available, but we don't know in future whether it's going to be available or not, because it's used, we are using a third-party software.
Okay. Currently it is available. So that's clear, Sampath. There's a question from Vaibhav. Vaibhav is asking, LMS access is given for offline students also. Do offline students get LMS access?
Yes, offline students also will get LMS access. Only difference is offline students will not get recordings because class is happening on premise. Everything
They will
else
not
is
get
same.
materials, test, everything they'll get, right?
Yes.
All right. So there's a question from Hari Krishnan. He's asking, is there any criteria from the side of Emergy for attending placements? Something like an eligibility test or anything? Mubin.
Yeah, so idea is that it's important that people perform well before they start attending the interviews. So we have a evaluation system which you have to go through. For example, we conduct mock interviews, and we'll also have a look at the score which you're performing. For example, your module wise score is also important. Like it should not happen that somebody just for the namesake they join the course and they start applying for the placements. So we will monitor your scores, your test scores, maybe your placement eligibility test scores, and based upon that you will be made eligible for the placements. The idea is that somebody should not be very poor in their performance. Somebody who's decent in performance with minimum scores can start applying for placements.
Okay, hope that's clear, Hari. Then there's a question from Kalpana. Do we need to install Linux?
You can install Linux. So if you have Windows or Mac also, whatever course we are doing, whatever the software is available, right, they will run on all the operating system. But we prefer Linux because in companies, for example, many of the companies prefer Linux as a development environment. Plus, you're learning Linux specific modules, like Linux systems is one module which you're learning, and Linux internals and embedded Linux and ARM. These three modules are having a small dependency on Linux. So it's better if you can install Linux. So one of the sessions after you joining will be an installation and configuration session. So our system administration will help you on how to install Linux and how to configure it. Yeah, so Linux will be installed as part of the training module.
Okay, hope that's clear, Kalpana. And there's a question from Arihant. He's asking how the practical labs are conducted online. I think you showed, but you want to add anything?
Yeah, so typically lab happens, a dedicated lab session will be there for you after the class hours or before the class hours. For the previously completed topic, you will have like lab sessions. In the lab session, what the lab mentor does is he or she will explain the assignments which you have to complete. Maybe your project or assignments, whatever is required to be done. The assignment related explanation will be given, guidelines will be given, and some hints will be given for you. So what you have to do is you have to attend those sessions, understand those problem statement, and after the lab session, you have to start working on the assignments. So for that, you just need some software to be installed in your laptop. You can just install the software and you can start working on the programs. In case you're not able to complete the assignment on your own, that's when you have to seek help. So you can seek help through whatever channels available, like WhatsApp group, or you can ask in the next day's lab. You can clarify your doubts and complete the assignments. So this is how the lab session works. And after completing your assignment, you can submit those assignments. And there is a automated evaluation system for some of the assignments. It will get automatically evaluated. You'll get feedback whether the assignment is right or wrong immediately. For manual assignments, the mentor will grade it, or you can check with the mentor directly whether the assignment is right or not, and you will get feedback from the mentor.
All right. Hope that's clear. And there's a question from Ramesh. Ramesh is asking, after completion of the course, have you give access to the recorded classes?
Yes, that's what we told. You will get access for the recorded videos till 1 year after the 1 year duration of the course.
Okay.
It's not that we're going to delete it. You can watch up to 1 year.
Up to 1 year, right? And there is a question from Girish on batch timings. I think batch timings which already clarified. There's a question from Sanjay. He's asking if I apply to offline mode, will there be already prepared videos, or there's a trainer who will teach me on a daily basis, just like college? I think that's also fairly straightforward. In physical classes, the mentor will appear in front of you, right? It was recorded videos only for the online classes. Physical classes, the mentor will come. Yeah.
I think he would have misinterpreted it. Offline does not mean self learning course. Offline means on the premise. You have to come to our institute and take up the course. That's what offline is.
Right. And there is a question from Bharati. Bharati is, even though it's not related, what about fee structure? Is there any installments? So Bharati, our counselors, team of counselors would be the right people to answer about the payment, installment, etc. Towards the end of the slide, I'll show you their contact details. They'll be able to help you out, right? And then there's again question from Kalpana. She's asking communication protocols like SPI, I2C, UART, and all. Will that be taught?
Yeah, these protocols will be covered as part of the microcontroller module. I2C, SPI, UART, CAN, etc. will be covered as part of the microcontroller module.
Okay. And then, how can you take the course contacts? And there's again question from Bharati, how they can contact, etc. As I told you, towards the end, I'll share our counselor team's phone number and details, right? Okay. Then there are a lot of questions about placements. I'll come back to that. Let us try. And there's again question from when the course is starting. Again, I'll show you towards the end. Okay. Yeah. I think a lot of questions are coming from the placement point of view. We'll come back to that.
Okay.
Let me quickly check Mubin any technical course related things. Yeah, I think fairly that's it, Mubin. A lot of questions are there in placements, right? Yeah. Okay, 1 second. Let me come back. Okay. So guys, in the call, hope you got an idea about how the course will get delivered. Hope you got a view. Especially a lot of questions come for the online students, how the hardware access will be there, how do we get my doubts clarified, how do we get placement, preparation, etc. On-premise it's fairly straightforward. You come to M0, you'll come to know, but online students will have a lot of queries. I hope Mubin's session gave you an idea. Can you get some responses? Hope you're able to connect so far. That we'll move on to the final piece. I know it's already 9:20 because a lot of questions are there. Let me get some quick feedback. Sampath is telling, yes sir, okay sir. Then Jafar is asking, technically basic programming is complicated. I don't know what I mean by that. I'm not from programming background. Okay, that's fine, Jafar. As you can see Mubin's video, an example of array, right? Everything is coming from basics, right? So you don't need to come with that background. Everything is start from basics, right? Guys, any other questions for Mubin? That I can resume back with the placements. There's a lot of questions about placement. I also have few things to show, certification placements, and we can still go ahead and complete the pending questions. But again, I get some quick feedback. Are able to connect whatever been shared by Mubin, course, lab, hardware, material, placement support, placement preparation. Can I get some more responses? Nelson is telling yes, sir. Kavya is telling yes, sir. Some more responses, please. Give project examples, right? Project example is available. Amrita, you can still check out. Even I'll show one more. And then Trishul is giving a yes, it was insightful. Well explained, sir. Thank you, says Harshita. All right, Mubin. So thank you very much for your insights. So let me take back the presenter thing. In case any questions are there, again comes back in the technical, probably we can take it towards the end.
No problem.
Let me take back the presenter. and then okay. All right, so I'm back. So this is what we've done so far with respect to the course demo, right? And then lot of questions we saw: effectiveness of the course, which one is cost effective, who are my mentors, how can I get my doubts clarified, right? Pretty much all of them is clarified. College students, placements, year gap, right? Okay. Okay, now let us come back to placement, because still I know a lot of questions have come about placements. Let us quickly talk about placement from a process point of view. If you look at the initial session about placements, when we discussed about some of the job trends and how the jobs are translating into opportunities, of these trends are translating into opportunities for our students, and how they're cracking, right? We just took some examples of example of what you call success stories of our students. Now let us look at placement from the process point of view. So the moment any students joins our batch, right, they will be added to a Google group, and then in that Google group will be where you'll get exactly about all the notifications. Even though we have information published in our social media and website, our Google group is more of a live channel where the entire action happens, where you can apply, get shortlisted. Then subsequently, once you get shortlisted, then there's a backend WhatsApp group that kicks in, which Mubin has shown, where you do a lot of preparation activities, and then you attend the interviews and written test, where the entire communication is done by our placement team in collaboration with the companies. So until you go and join, right, we are there with you towards a end-to-end journey, right? So that's what happens. So here there are multiple questions are there. I can see a lot of them coming in. I'll try to answer them, then I will come back and take specific questions. But before that, let me quickly show you guys about the Google group and the application process. Let me share the Google group screen. Hope you're able to see the Google group. All of you will be added to this Google group once you join, students who join the course. And that's where all the actions happen. You can see, right, for example, you can see the applications. You can say apply now. There is a kind of mails are coming. Then once you apply, somebody got placed, there's a congratulations message comes in. Then if somebody is in process, right, they're going through the written test or this thing, right, you have all these schedules, etc. has been communicated, right? You can see here all these companies are there, right? And whenever you go to any particular company, the information will be mentioned. Let us say, for example, this is Toshiba, which has come, right? We can see the entire information about the company shared in the application. Then what is the skill set, what is the academics. So here you can see this is quite high in terms of academics and in terms of the year of pass out. But salaries you can see for BTech, MTech. And somebody asked about bond, right? So if the company is asking for a bond, that bond will be communicated upfront. Then how the interview will be conducted, then how is the work mode, because during pandemic there's always a question about should I come to office or should I come to work from home, right? Everything is clarified. And they'll always there'll be an application cutoff, right? You need to apply by so and so date. If you can see, today morning 10 o'clock was the application deadline. It would have got closed, but still we'll go and check. You can see here it would have got closed by now. You can see, right, it is closed. But assuming that it's open, you can apply, right? Then subsequently people who are applying, they get shortlisted, and then subsequently they will come and go for further rounds, etc. You can see another example of companies, right? You can see here they're asking for only the C programming type of thing, and then you can see here, right, 2019, 20, and then this company is telling no percentage criteria, right? And then there is a stipend model, and then depending on that your thing will be there, and this companies ask for no bond, right? You can find variety of companies here depending on the year of pass out, right? If you go dig out too many, right, too many possibility of permutation combination will come. Here you can see Cient, right? They have having this type of C and C++. You can see the year of pass out, right? You can see the salary, bond, right? Mode. Everything is clearly communicated in this application, right? This is an example where every data is transparent, and on top of it, we have a dedicated, team, both the placement team and also the student support team, who will closely work with you and ensure that anytime you need any information, they are here to clarify. Okay. So this is an example of how the placement process works. Right. Let me get back to the slide. Okay. So some of the FAQs about placements, I think this we discussed already. Till how long I'll get placement opportunities to Emergy? We mentioned it's for 2 years from the time of course completion. Okay. Then can I choose between two job offers? I think somebody asked this question, right? What we say in Emergy as per our placement policy is that you can apply for many companies. As you saw, right, in the group also so many companies are coming, and if you're eligible, you can apply. You can even go and attend the written test or interview. But when it comes to choosing a job offer, we say whichever offer comes first, you need to choose that. Okay, I think that's a question that Hiren is also asking right here, right? If once you, because in Emergy we don't allow multiple job offers. So let me repeat, in Emergy placement policy, we don't allow multiple job offers to students, right? That's again because of two reasons. Reason number one, in Emergy, we don't want a scenario where, because you're all coming off campus, right? If you look at some of the popular engineering colleges, they have this concept of normal job offer, then they have a concept of dream job offer, etc. Right? We don't have that. Suppose let us say we have multiple students here. Jafar is here, Sanjay is here, Usha is here, Hiren is here. For example, 4 students. So what do we want as a team, right? Both from a training team and from the placement team. We want all of you to go with one offer. I don't want a scenario where Hiren is having 3 offers, whereas Usha, Sanjay, and Jafar is not having any offer, right? We don't want to have. So that's the reason why we ensure that the moment you get the first offer, our placement team will automatically stop all the other companies. They will inform the company. Let's say Hiren got an offer today, right? And he's already attending 2 companies where he cleared first round, somewhere he cleared second round, somewhere he cleared the written test, etc. Right? We'll tell all the companies saying that Hiren got a job with this so-and-so company. He is not available. This is from the student point of view, which is fair, right? Second point, from the company's point of view, also it is beneficial because we promise to the company, like how we promise many things to you guys, right? We promise the companies that if you come and select any Emergy student, they will not reject the offer, right? Because what happens if you get multiple offers, right? You cannot join all the company. You can join only one company, which means to say you will not be able to, you will be reject. The other 2 companies will consider that you are rejecting the offer. So we don't want that culture, because one of the reasons why, especially those companies come and hire from us, is because, as I mentioned, 80% of them are repeat recruiters because they trust us, right? They trust us and they believe in our skill building process, and also the professional support we give them in terms of placements. Suppose some company comes and selects 10 students from Emergy, we ensure that all the 10 students join. So we promise to the company there won't be any offer rejections, right? So that's the reason why we always ensure that students get the first offer, right? Hope that's clear. It's fair from the company's point of view. It is fair from the student point of view. Okay. All of we don't want to have survival of the fittest concept, right? We want everybody to be fairly demonstrated, fairly go with a one offer, all of them, right? That's the reason why we give that. And similarly, student asked me, so should I apply to all the companies, right? It depends on you. For example, some companies, some you may have some concerns, sir. Even though I'm eligible, I don't feel like this salary is very high here, right? Or this company is asking for a bond, right? Or this company is selling. Some companies will put, especially company like L&T, they will say, you should be open to work in any of the sites that they deploy you. It could be Bangalore office, it could be Mysore office, it could be, as I said, they're even opening up offices like place like Baroda, etc. Right? So you may say, sir, I cannot relocate. You have some personal concern, right? It is not necessary that you need to apply. There is no force on any Emergy student to apply for a particular company. It is purely your choice. If some of the points mentioned in the application is not okay with you, don't apply. Anyway, so many companies are recruiting, right? Okay. But once you apply, you get an offer from that company, you have to join. So that's a protocol we follow. Hope that's clear. Okay. What type of companies are hiring? We already saw that different vertical, like vertical inside embedded, robotics, IoT, telecom. We saw so many examples, semiconductors. And in terms of size weight, it's a startup, mid-size, big company. So all of them are hiring, right? We saw some of the examples. I'm having an year gap. Will it affect my placements? I think multiple people are asking this question. The answer is no. You don't need to bother about the year gap. Okay, because when the companies come to us, we transparently share that information, whether between BTech or MTech or after MTech, or you have some kind of experience which is not relevant, etc., etc. Those type of questions is not an issue from you obtaining your job. I already showed enough examples of people cracking jobs in spite of having the similar challenges, right? And not only that, people are also from a different domain. I think a lot of questions have come up with, I'm having 4-year experience in other domain. I just quickly, even though I could not put it in form of a picture, let me quickly show very recent ones. I think it came yesterday or today. Just go on and check in the, our Google. I think that's another very powerful thing that we have. Let me quickly show you guys. Let me go here. Let me say newest. And you can see here, there's a student, I think recently, yesterday or something is submitted. Let me just try to zoom a bit. Oops. So you can see here, right? Siddhant is selling post-graduation in their 2016 NNT Patna after working in industry for 5.5 years, right? So he is having a work experience of 5.5 years. Then he joined our course, right? Development skills, right? Thank vendors. He got placed in L&T Smart World Communications, right? So what happens is when they place this review, right? It takes some time for us to collect the photograph and put it in form of the format what I showed you, right? The point is, even after 5 years, 5.5 years working in a different domain, right? I think there's some screen hang is happening. So it is very much possible for somebody to land in a job, which L&T, as I said, they're opening multiple new entities. One of them is the L&T Smart World Communications, where they're building things like IoT-based solutions. More of a new entity that created, where the salary level is also quite high, rather than L&T Technology Services, right? You can see examples like that. And this is another example I talk about, which we discussed in the beginning of the session. A student from a civil engineering background, right? Okay, you can see it got placed in Great Wall Motors and in the automotive segment. He talks about this, right? And then somebody coming from a far more different this thing, right? And then let me just show you some older batch. You can see here, Puneet is a 2018 pass out, right? He got a job. And then you can see here, Deepan Shiva, graduation in 2019 and worked in a different field. I plan to learn embedded, right? Shift domain, etc., etc. during this pandemic. And then you can see, right, he got a job in LG, right? I can go on and on. My only, limitation is time, right? I cannot show all the success stories or all the permutation combination. But what I'm trying to say is it's all there. It's just a matter of you guys going and, looking. And by the way, all the information is pretty much open and transparent. There's nothing hidden here, and we are very much open to the feedback also, right, which Moveen also mentioned. And there are some, especially for working professionals, they might have this particular question, right? I'm a working professional. I have a notice period with my current company, right? When you wanted to change your domain or something like that, they may say they need to serve a notice period of 30 days or 45 days, etc. So no need to get concerned. As I say, we have many people who are working and they change their career, right? We will help your placement team, especially if you're a working professional. We discuss, assuming that you are going through your process, going through, let us say you reached in the HR stage or the offer is about to be released, right? We can discuss, our placement team will discuss with the company and get this notice period worked out for you. Okay, you can, and we also strongly recommend that you finish your notice period and then only you join, right? You don't abruptly leave the previous company. Get a proper relieving letter, close the previous relationship on a very positive note, and then join the new company, right? So similarly, there may be other concerns from working professional in terms of interview timings, right? I can only attend the interviews in the evenings, etc. Our placement team will take care, right? And we also tell them also, right? When you're going through it, they'll say this is the evening batch students. They are working professional and they're taking up this evening course, right? We don't hide anything from the companies, right? And people, especially who are having year gap, coming from a different background, etc., etc. That question only, according to my experience, will only come in the later rounds, especially when you're reaching the managerial round, HR round. That time you can transparently tell, this is what I've been doing, but I did this course to achieve a career break. Right? You don't need to hide it. Let me repeat, right? We never hide any information from anyone, be it a student, be it a company, and we also strongly recommend the same to the student also. Okay, suppose somebody will say, sir, I prepared for GATE for 2 years. I did not get clear, right? I think won't tell. It's okay, right? So you failed in gate doesn't mean it's end of life, right? Okay. So life has to move on, right? So, but only thing is that what when I see this question, right? I think I ask this question in every webinar these days, right? Let me ask that question, right? When we are asking, right, year gap, I'm having this problem, I'm having that problem, right? Can I ask this question? I want a honest answer. I will not read your names, by the way, right? Do you have a sense that you are a failure just because you did not get the career break so far? Do you consider yourself as a failure? Give me an answer, yes or no. Let me see how many honest answers come up. I'm not going to read names here. Okay, Robin is telling no. Great. Okay, some of them are telling yes. I will not read the name here, right? Many yeses coming here, right? Okay, some of them are telling no. I'm very happy about it. But what happens when you are thirsty for success, right? Your success is not coming to you, very frequently to you, and some of them are telling honestly, yes, sir. Sometimes, right? So when success is not coming to you, right? You get into the self doubt. And whenever you are in self-doubt, you need a proof point. That's why many of them are asking, show me this data, show me that data, right? Because I don't have any problem in showing the data. It is actually the doubt in your mind which is forcing you to ask this question, which is very valid, right? And it is my responsibility to show the data, no problem at all. But the point I'm trying to tell is, right, 99.9% of the students come with this mindset, right? They feel that they're not being successful enough in their eyes, or in their parents' eyes, or in their society's eyes, right? So it is very well, understandable problem. Nothing to get concerned. If we understand your psychology, and even as Mubin said, we brought a dedicated people who can give us psychological counseling, right? And even working professionals going through so many challenges, right? People have so many, trouble that they're facing through, right? But the point is, yes, we understand these challenges, but how do we come out? Who is going to help us, right? And there's a saying, right? God helps to people who help themselves, right? That's what we are here for. We are here to support you, and then as long as you follow the process, results will come. And as many permutation combination you can think of, we have success story to show everywhere, right? There's not even a single success story you can say, oh, these people who are not able to, we are not able to place. I'm telling you, go live Google review where you are able to place a civil engineer. What more you guys want, right? Okay. Even we were believing that, whether the other branch people will be able to crack, right? Even though companies were ready to hire, we were a little bit, worried, right? But you can see that people come from civil background, year gap, working in a different domain for 4 or 5 years, right? Coming back, right? All possible permutation combinations, success is there. But only request is, please stay focused on the skill building process. I told a cricketing analogy, right? Don't see the scoreboard and play every time. You'll not be able to score well. Focus on the pitch, focus on the ball, focus on the process. Scoreboard will automatically keep ticking, right? And you will be able to score well, if you see, right? I don't know how many of you seen this 83 movie when, recently I was watching, right? Kapil Dev hit 175 that match against Zimbabwe, which unfortunately did not get broadcasted. Everybody will be clapping, then he will go and ask umpire why everybody is clapping. People will say you have broken a world record, right? So that's what things are. If you have scored every ball, right? If you were scoring everything by looking at the scoreboard, right, you would not have been successful, right? And that way, that 175 not out was a phenomenal innings played by Kapil, which is humanly impossible. If you look at 25 years back, right? Scoring 175 in a one-day international is something, you can't even imagine. And that too in a pitch like England, right? It's impossible. But single-handedly he could win because he focused on the game. He did not focus on the scoreboard. That's my analogy. That's my humble recommendation to all of you. Okay. So let me see if any other questions are there. Usha Sri, I think similar question. 1 year experience. Am I eligible? Yes, you are eligible. Right. And then Sanjay is telling, sir, my college ends on July 10th. So which batch should I join? So Sanjay, every month we will be starting batches, right? I'll be sharing this month batch dates, and then students also take time, right? Sometimes they join the batch immediately, or they would already inquired, or some of you would have newly walked into this webinar. Every month, typically on the last week of every month, we start batches. In case you have your college commitment till 10th July, I would suggest you finish your college so that you don't get into here one leg, another leg. Finish your entire college formalities, get all your examination done, take a week or two break, and probably join towards the end of July, right? Every end of every month we'll be starting the batch, right? And then there are questions. I think there are a couple of technical questions. I have Ubuntu in my laptop. Do we need Windows to run any simulation software? No, Arthros. Ubuntu is good enough. In fact, we recommend Ubuntu only. Okay. CAN protocol topic is included in your course, Ramesh? Yes, Ramesh, it's part of the microcontroller module, right? And then Amrita is asking, do we get this session recording? Yes, Amrita, every monthly webinar is getting recorded. I know our team will do a little bit of cut there because initially, there was a pause, long pause due to certain issue with the tool. Our team will do some, minor cutting. They put a header, footer, right, contact information. Early next week, it will reach you. Okay, so that you can also keep it as a reference. And by the way, these videos are open in our YouTube channels. If you want to forward to your friends, feel free to do. Okay. Month on month, our words will be different, but our message remain the same. Okay? Because some of you are attending second or third time, right? Because they really want to check last month data, this month data, are they telling same, right? Otherwise, you guys will make a meme out of me. Last month, Jay Kumar and Mubin told this month they are telling different, right? Okay, so the word may be different, but we do it a day in and day out, right? So we don't have anything to manufacture. Whatever we do, we tell. Whatever we tell, we do. So no issues, right? Let me check more questions. Fee structure, a lot of questions. There are questions about placement companies, right? I think Usha is asking that placement assistant will be given from Bangalore locations or pan India, right? Because many of you are asking, do Hyderabad based companies come and all? See, because we are based out of Bangalore, and Bangalore being the tech capital of India, I would say 90% or even more than 90% of the companies are based out of Bangalore only. Okay, so by default, you can assume that your work location will be Bangalore. Having said that, we have few companies hiring from Hyderabad location, Chennai location, NCR region, Pune, Mumbai, Pune region. And there are niche pockets that are coming up in India. Like if you look at a place like Kochi, right, in Kerala, Trivandrum in Kerala, few companies which are hired, but they're very less in number. But around 90 or even more than 90% of the companies are looking forward to deploy you in their Bangalore only. And there are some companies, as I said, a company like L&T who want you to open to be in any location, right, in India, Bangalore, Mysore, Baroda, as I said, right, but they're building many sites there. So that's the thing. But default is Bangalore. Okay. Then let me see. I think there are a lot of questions about the different branch, etc. I showed you good amount of examples. People can, this thing, right? Basically, talking about the different branch, year break, career break. I showed you some examples recently. How can I take the course? How can I contact? Ask Bharat. Bharat, give me some time. I show my counseling team's details. Then Harshita says, I'm 2021 pass out, but due to some health issues, I took a break. Can I say the same reason to the recruiters? Will it become a negative impression? You can tell the same thing, Harshita. Okay, I told it multiple times. Whatever is the real reason, tell it to the company. No need to manufacture. People tell all these, cock and bull stories, you say, right? No need to. And that also, as I said, it will come in the last round. People are, the technical guy, they're not bothered. They'll bother, as Movin showed so many material, you prepare them well, go there, they're only going to assess you technically. But later during the management and HR round only, this question will come up as a casual question, but that is not something based on which they'll do, 2011 took a break, I'll reject you, right? They're not going to do that. Okay. This is all, I think, right? Some preconceived notions are there. That's why you have all these questions. You don't need to worry about it at all, right? Okay, I think next batch dates. Then again, out of this thing. Yeah, I think fairly we covered all of them. Percentage criteria, Hyderabad location. There's a question from Sushma. She's asking, after BCA, can I get a job there? No, Sushma. As I said, no MSc, no BCA, no MCA yet. Right? We're only focusing on BTechs, of course, MTechs, okay, from all the branches, right? Because we should be committing, right? We'll not be able to commit placements. Again, problem is not with us. Problem is with from the company side. Okay. Okay, I think we discussed all of them. Okay. All right, so let us see. Let me come down. Okay. Okay. Then some more questions have come up off late. Let me pick them up. Vishnu Gopidas is asking, sir, I'm having 5 backlogs. Can I continue to learn? Again, this is an interesting question, right? We spoke about notice period, right? We talk about backlogs, right? What if I have backlog? Okay. No problem, Vishnu. Okay. What I suggest is you join the course, focus on skill building. In parallel, anyways, you can apply for your supplementary exams, right? They'll be conducting in some time, right? You clear all the backlogs, okay, and then only you can apply for placements, because companies want you to provide at least a provisional degree certificate, or a degree. You should have completed the degree. None of the companies would allow you. See, companies are okay with you can from any year of pass out. They're okay with even for that matter less than 60 in good number of companies, which some of the example I showed. But all of them want you to complete the engineering. They will not allow backlogs, right? So this is again a typical condition with respect to our students. What we tell with respect to backlog students is, do not wait, clear all the backlog and come and do the skill building. Skill building can start immediately. You can do the course. In parallel, you can clear your backlogs, right? And to consider the backlog students, specifically what we tell from placement team is that you clear backlogs. From once you clear and come back and tell, sir, I cleared all the backlog, because it can happen that you complete your course before, but then you take some more time to finish your backlogs, right? So you finish your backlog and come back and tell, I am ready, Vishnu. Okay. So your placement window of 2 years can be started from the day you tell, okay, not from the day you complete, right? Even though that is what we say in policy. For people with the backlog, we want to give this consideration. We do give. Okay. And many students come back, they complete the course in 6 months. Let us say 1 or 2 months they take more to clear the backlog. Let us say 8th month they clear, right? From there, you can start your 2-year window. You can start applying, but do not apply with the backlog available. Okay? In the parallel, you anyways finish your assignment project, keep your resume ready, start applying once you clear your backlog. Hope that's clear. Vishnu, Sanjay, but he's saying, thank you, sir, for clearing my doubt. So can you please tell timing of July month on-site batch? Vidya, I'll come to that specific batch. Give me something. Sundaravali is asking, sir, I request you to answer above question. I don't know, Sundaravali, maybe I missed, because I just skimmed through all the questions. You can just type it once again, I'll be answered. So companies with 70% criteria, and if I have 68%, can I apply? Right? No, Karshita. 70% means 70 and above. Right? If you say 68, you apply. Then 65 will say, can I apply? Then 55 will say, can I apply? Right? When the companies are telling 70, right? It means 70 and above. In case if you apply, our placement team will stop you, because some students will not listen. They'll still apply. 60 for them, 65 means 64 also will look like 65 only. They'll apply. Right? Then 62 will think, oh, I'm only 3% less. He'll apply. Then there's no point in having a cutoff, right? So do not apply. But anyways, our placement team will filter out in case if you still go on and apply. 70% means 70 and above. 70.0. All of us gone to the entrance exam, right? It's like a cutoff. Then our Afroz is telling, are all the companies that come for placement offer embedded jobs only, or some companies have a different job profile, right? So Afroz, I would say all the companies are coming for an embedded profile only, but few companies, I would say 1 or 2 companies, even though, if you look at the embedded job profile, again, you can be categorized into 2. For example, embedded development and embedded testing, right? But really 1 or 2 companies, what they say, they have this thing called as, a field application engineers, where you'll be working with a business team, and then you'll be going and demonstrating the projects, product, etc., which will require some technical skills. So 1 or 2 companies hire but they require a technical background, right? So some students who are not very sharp, they could not clear the programming round and all, but some they may be good in talking, but they know the course very well, right? We give them that opportunity, but that is hardly 1 or 2. Remaining all 99%, it's all embedded developer or tester, or very few 1 or 2 in the field application portion. Hope that's clear, Afroz. Then Vaibhavi is asking work from home. Again, Vaibhavi, that will not be able to mandate. You saw the application example which I shown you. Okay, companies are already resuming back to the regular office. At least they all started that hybrid 3 days. You have to come to office and then work, right? So we'll not be able to commit. In fact, it's from the company side, right? If you're working from a permanent work from home, I'm not sure how feasible it is, especially going forward, right? They also learned, right? The complete work from home sometimes won't work. Few companies are offering, but that also be specified. You see the application, right? Whether it's a work from home or work from office. But I would say, given the current situation, majority of the companies already moved to full-time working or the hybrid. Okay. Complete work from home, I'm not sure. Very, very few companies may be having that. but you can check and apply. Then diploma holder, can you do this course? No. Okay, if you've done BTech after diploma, yes, right? Because as I already told you, our recruiting companies would expect minimum BTech or MTech to be done. Okay, so diplomas, MSCs, BCAs, they don't consider. Okay. July batch times, I'll come to that, Vidya. Give me a minute. I'm just wrapping up last few questions. It's almost 10 p.m. I have 1 year experience. Let me just tell Usha. In Java, after completing Hamilton, will I be eligible entry as a fresher or experienced candidate? Okay, this is another question, right? I do have some experience that could be related to technical, embedded, or related to some non-related embedded. For example, in case of Usha, she comes from a Java background, right? Similarly, you saw in the Google reviews, right? They come from some mechanical background, or somebody will come from manufacturing background, right? I have some work experience, teaching, right? Somebody asked about teaching, right? I have some teaching experience. So how do that experience will be considered? Or somebody say, I'm working as a Java programmer right now, and I'm doing an evening course. How the companies will consider that experience, right? So the answer is, it purely depends on the recruiting company. Okay? Some companies would consider and then hire you at a next level. That is a 1 year Java experience. They probably will consider it as a 6 months embedded experience. They may hire you like that, one company. Well, other company will say, no, the previous is past. You anyway joining as entry level and this is salary. That purely depends on the company. So what is our recommendation is to the people, especially who have some experience, right? Do not target both. For example, do not target, I want a domain change also, but I want to carry my previous experience also. If it happens, that's great. Let me just quickly show you, it's a little late. I think one of the old students which showed, I don't know where it was. I think I'm not able to dig out in the interest of time. One of the students who got placed in Qualcomm, she basically had some 1 year of experience. They hired 2 people, right? Aishwarya, right? One student was a pure fresher, 2021 pass out, South. They gave him a associate engineer, something like that. But for other person, Aishwarya, I think she had a year or so experience, in working in the defense thing. I'm not able to open the PDF, even though I showed some time back, right? So they hired at a higher salary. So they consider that previous experience, right? So it purely depends on the company. That would be the answer to your question. Hope Usha, that clears your question. Then Vishnu is telling, clear sir, thank you. Then Sundaravali is asking, all right, okay, here is your question. So how the embedded systems course will help for motor design engineer? I don't know what you mean by motor design engineer. Are you referring as a mechanical engineer, Sundaravali? If you can clarify me, it will help me, right? I think Usha is putting the same question again. Nelson is asking, do you have any personal suggestion feedback before starting this internship? Nelson, this is not about internship again, right? This is about, the course. I don't know why you are getting confused. Then Sundaravali asking electrical engineer. Okay, so you are an electrical engineer. How the embedded system course will help? Okay, so even though you are from an electrical, electronics, whatever the branch you are from, what is the target you are, going ahead, right? You are going to a embedded system developer or an embedded system tester. On few occasions, I said the field application, but let us ignore for our discussion sake, right? So that is what your target is, right? Your background, whatever you come from, because we are placing civil engineers, we are paying mechanical engineers, right? Okay, I don't think that will have any significance. Okay? What will have significance is what are you doing in our course, okay? Because your complete evaluation, 90% evaluation. Yes, some question can come from your basic electronics, which Mubina showed also, right? Some can come, but largely it is going to be about what are you going to do in our course. That will be the differentiating factor, Sundaravali. Okay? It's not about whether you're an electrical engineer, motor design engineer. I don't think that those things matter at all. Okay. Why selling? So will you specify from company the requirements of a tester or a developer? No, Vaibhavi, because what happens is, let us say company recruits 2 students from us, right? For example, right? Those 2 students, one student may go to a developer role, one student may go to tester role. Again, it depends on team A, team, because we don't know, right? We only know that this is a core job. You're working in an embedded company, right? And whether it's a developer or tester, it is up to them to decide. We are nowhere to tell, okay, you guys, But again, the question what I tell to students is, again, there is a lot of myth about testing. In fact, in a monthly meeting, we talk about bond testing, right? We talk about 1 hour in detail, right? I tell people, right? I don't know why people have this notion about testing, that testing means sort of, I tell this example. I don't know how many of you agree to my statement, right? You think testing is a general compartment travel, and then developer is a AC first class traveling in a train, right? I don't know why this type of myths are in people's mind, right? Okay. So I tell testing is also equally challenging. In fact, good amount of our testing people who are getting into embedded testing role, they end up writing code. I don't know how many of you are aware of this thing, right? And some of the people write code which is more complicated than what a developer writes, right? So my point is, we will not be able to commit anything. Similarly, people will come and ask me, sir, I want to only get into an IoT company. I want to only get into a developer role. I tell people that, and then again, again the previous example, right? Sir, will they consider my previous experience? Will they give me a higher designation, higher salary, right? I tell people, that's a saying, right? Don't try to kill two birds with a single bullet. If it happens, super. Like Aishwarya Chandran has happened. Many other examples I can think of, right? Has happened where they're able to, and some students come and thank me also. Sir, you told don't expect, so I did not expect. But eventually, you know what? I got a developer role. I got an IoT job only, or I got into robotics only, right? One student used to eat my head saying that I want to get in only robotics, right? These things has happened, and some of them even say I got a developer, right? If it happens, great. I'm happy, you are happy, everybody is happy. But do not have it as an expectation, because you need to break two barriers. You need to break a skill barrier, and then you need to break a specialization barrier, right? Don't do that. First, what we suggest people is that get into a core job first. Then whether it's a testing to development transition, because I started as a test engineer, by the way, right? Okay, getting into development, very well possible. Or you got into, let us say, you got into telecom, but you want to get into robotics. That is also possible. Okay, so do not have two targets at the same time. Have one target, chase it well, win it well. Then you plan this as a goal number 2. But if it happens as a goal number 1 itself, dono ek hi bullet mein dono pakshi mar gaya, great. You come and let us go for a party. But don't have it as an expectation. Hope that's clear. Why I'm telling you're putting a lot of ifs and if else condition. I'm from old batch. Will they give work from home? Will they give me a developer, right? If you put so many ifs and buts condition, it's going to be difficult for you. And let me be open with that, right? Hope that clarifies, right? Okay. The more condition you put, it's more harder it's going to be. Be open, explore, then figure it out. No, get into a job first, then further you figure it out. Okay. I want to know more on drives for motor. See, Sundaravali, I don't think any company will work on the motor side as such. Rather, they'll use a controller or some kind of an electronic chip. They'll program it to control anything for that matter. It could be motor, it could be and robotic arm, or it could be something like a what do you call some measuring some industrial production, etc. Right? So you will not be on the course that side. You will be on the software and the embedded side. Okay, so I don't think you should be I don't think you will be you can be, you need to be so specific about you want to work on motor, right? I think it's a tangentially different question, I would say. Okay. Amrita is asking, sir, in embedded domain, which is more demand these days among Linux drivers? They were embedded medical or automotive. So Amrita, I would say that question we will do it as a goal number 2. Okay, that's what I was telling you guys in the previous question also, answering Vaibhavi's question, right? Which one is good, right? Should I get in there? Should I get in there, right? I say first you get in to the core first. Okay, then later we'll figure it out, because every career has every specialization has got its own pros and cons. Okay? And also what happens, it also about not only about the demand, it's about how well you are doing that role. Are you capable of doing that role, right? There are a lot of questions comes into picture, right? I have 1 year of experience as an embedded developer, great, no problem. Okay, get into a good company to start with, at least work there for 3 years, I suggest people, right? Then you can get into the specialization. I'm telling you, do MBBS first, become a general doctor, then you become, whether you want to become a child specialist, whether you want to become a orthopedist, right? Then we'll take it up as a phase 2. Okay, because the course that Mubin has explained, even though you worked as an embedded system engineer, right? The course is quite in depth. If you learn that very well, get into the step number 1. This discussion, I would say, right, we'll take it as a part 2. I tell people, okay, come to my cabin, we can sit and talk over a coffee for 2 hours. I can give an entire perspective, right? How this works, which is going well, where the more demand, where there is a complexity is high, where the complexity is low, where the competition is high, where the competition is low, where the salary is high, where the salary is low, right? Entire picture we have. But if I start discussing now, right, we'll be discussing whole night, right? I suggest get into the core job first, then probably we can have a separate session to dig it out among IoT development. This that how do I then it becomes a maze, right? How do I navigate? That will be a separate discussion, Amrita, I would say. Okay, hope that makes sense. Even Sundaravali for that matter, right? Motor she's selling, right? Get in the first job, then subsequently we'll take it up as a second step. All right, folks, I think it's 10:10 almost, right? I know it's like a 2-hour webinar. Typically, we take 3 hours. Any other questions? I can go on, no problem. Typically, it takes 3 hours. Any other questions? Let me go to the last but one slide to share my. But one more point, which is like, energy certificate, as I said. This is a, we are working with Skill India, and, this is where you get certified from Skill India. There was some issue with respect to certification exam and all. We have opened it now. Last week, the application went live. And there's another opportunity for you to get a Government of India. You can see that student name, and we'll put our institution seal and this thing and give, right? It's a level 5 certification, but there are very few institutions who are doing a level 5 certification training, which is a good opportunity for all of you to, have a good growth going forward, right? Let me go to my slide, last slide. So some of you are asking about the dates. Okay, these are all the dates and contact details of our counseling team. As you see, 3 batches we start every month in embedded. So as per you can see the dates there. Let me use my phone. 28th June we're starting the embedded systems course offline. Okay. And 29th June we are starting the embedded systems online regular. And 1st July we'll start the online evening course. Those are the dates in for the month, and there are email IDs and phone numbers mentioned there. training@emergy.com, and there are common numbers there: 809 555 7333 and 7332. You can reach out to these numbers, or if you're already talking with any of our counselors, you can continue to talk with them, chat with them, and then get your questions clarified. Okay, there are some more questions in coming. Amrita is asking, will this course help for automotive development? Of course, yes. Automotive is one of the major segment where embedded systems are getting recruited. I don't know whether you saw my initial placement success stories, right? Be it Robert Bosch, Continental, Vitesco, Veoneer, even Harman. They all have a huge automotive work happening there. In fact, if I would say automotive is the largest vertical where our students are getting placed. Apart from consumer electronics, IoT, robotics, telecom, all are there, but highest would be any day it's automotive. The reason also I told one of the trends, right? I said that the car is changing fast in the automotive, whether it's a 2-wheeler, 4-wheeler. One is electric vehicle. Another thing is the existing petrol, diesel vehicle itself is becoming more electronics oriented, right? So there's a lot of demand. Automotive companies are hiring a lot. Definitely, yes. Automotive is one promising segment which you can look forward to have your career from a specialization point of view. Even today, when you ask me, automotive is the highest sub segment where our students are getting placed. Hope that's clear. Amrita, Amrita is telling, sir, I have other technical queries. Let me know whom I can contact. So Amrita, you can reach out to the mail ID which is there on the screen. Okay, training@emergy. You can reach out to them or call them. Most of the technical queries should be able to clarify by our team of counselors. Okay, but in case if they're not able to clarify, they will get in touch with us, some from the placement department or from a technical department. In sometimes the technical is becoming a little too much, one of us, one of our technical team member also can get into a call or a chat and then clarify. No problem. Okay, so please drop a mail with specific technical questions what you have apart from whatever you asked in the webinar. We'll be able to clarify. No problem. Okay. Then Sandeep is asking the same. Okay, can gap in BTech graduation affect in placement? Okay, he's coming back again and asking the same question. The answer is no. Okay, no sort of gap will affect your placements. you can apply. Later point in time, if it comes up, you can tell honestly. Apart from that, I don't think it will affect. Okay. All right, guys. I think that's quite a long session we had, and some of you, if you're not following us, so please follow us in LinkedIn and Instagram to get latest updates. If you're based out of Bangalore, you're most welcome to come to our office and meet us. And then finally, I would leave it with a note called welcome. Okay, welcome to the world of possibilities. Welcome to the world of embedded. I think we covered quite a lot. You see, almost 3 hours 15 minutes, right? Right from job trends, how the job trends are affecting our placements, and we went to the course part of it where we discussed about extensively how the course is getting delivered. Then so many questions about skill set repositioning and all, right? But one silver bullet I always tell people that this is, take it as an awareness session. Our idea of this, every monthly we get into this webinar and talk like this. Some of you are attending second or third time. It tells right. Every month we do this. What is our goal? Our goal is to give you guys the necessary awareness and the right information. But who is the biggest decision maker here? It is you, because you are going to do this career for next 30 years, 40 years. Take it as a career for you. You're all early 20s, right? You want to grow next 30, 40 years, right? So whatever may be the decision you take, okay, whether you choose embedded system or not, whether you choose Imerzi or not to do your course, doesn't matter, right? Whatever you choose, ensure that that's the right decision, and because the decision you are going to make is going to affect positively or negatively for the next 30, 40 years. Keep it as a long-term perspective. Don't see short-term benefits, right? See it as a long-term benefit, right? And choose the right one, which is suitable for you to build a career. Because today getting a job is not a big deal. Right? If you want a job, you go and become a delivery boy in Swiggy, you can get a job, all of us, right? That's not idea. That's for survival sake. Career is something which you do it on a long-term basis, where you like doing that work, you like that domain, and you grow well in terms of roles, responsibilities, learnings. Of course, your salary, your designation, your promotion, and then you want to look good in front of your eyes. That's a question I asked. Do you consider yourself as a failure? Want you to look good in front of your parents' eyes, your relatives' eyes, and larger ecosystem size, right? So that's a very objective in which we host this monthly webinar. I sincerely hope this has given you enough perspectives, right? May I stop now and get some quick feedback. How did you find today's webinar? Can I get some quick feedback? I'm getting some thank you messages from Bharati and Utsava. Can I get some quick feedback so we can move towards the closure? Very good, says Sanjay, Buddy. Thank you, sir, says Harshita. Thanks a lot. It was very helpful, says Vaibhavi. Okay. It's informative and worthwhile session, says Pallavi. And then good and informative, motivated, says Raghunath. Today I registered for the course, says Sandeep. Very good, Sandeep. Hope to see you in the induction class. Thank you very much, says Nagasiva. Then thank you, sir. Very informative, says Sriraj. Okay, great. Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you. It was very informative session. Motivative, says Samrat. Thank you, sir, says Pallavi. Okay. Thank you. Pay the registration fees now and join, says Hari Krishnan. Okay, great. Okay, if you're already registered, see you again in the induction class, whichever batch you join. Mostly I'll meet you in induction. Okay, 1st July. All right. Okay. Solid. Thank you very much, guys. Okay, I know it's past dinner time for me also. I'm also feeling hungry. Okay. As I said, early next week, you will see the recorded session reaching you. If you still have queries, reach out to our technical team. Sorry, our counseling team. They will help you. And whatever decision you take, ensure that you take it with a long-term perspective. Okay. So I wish you all the very best for your career. Okay. So take care. Hope to see you in the subsequent webinars, right? And reach out to us for any help. Okay? So thank you very much. Good night.